everybody, and welcome to Veterans Stadium. We have a gorgeous afternoon for the windup of this three-game series between the Phillies and the San Diego Padres. And the Phillies have won the first two games of the series rather easily. But today they will face an old nemesis, Randy Jones. One time, Randy beat the Phillies 7 consecutive times. Last year, of course, he had arm problems, and even at that, he pitched a complete game performance against the Phillies, the only complete game he worked all year long. I'm Andy Musser, along with Chris Wheeler. Harry Callis and Rich Ashburn will both be along later in our radio broadcast. Right now, the lineups are being exchanged at home plate. Coach Phil Roop representing the Padres, Captain Mike Schmidt for the Phillies. We'll be back to give you today's starting lineups in just a moment.
Chrysler LeBaron's a good combination. It's a car sized for today's living, yet loaded with luxury. It gives you your money's worth of sensibly sized style. And your choice of 3 models: young, stylish 2-door, a classic 4-door, and the new LeBaron Town & Country wagon. The difference between this wagon and any other is luxury. Why drive a car that doesn't seem great? Why not get your money's worth of style and luxury? When LeBaron gives you all this, why settle for anything less? See it at your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer today.
Cotman Transmission presents the history of the automatic transmission. The first mass-produced automatic transmission appeared in 1941, and gradually the country went shiftless. Then came Ultramatic, Turboglide, Cruisematic, Dynaflow, Flight Pitch, Torque Flight, and Roto-Hydromatic. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Trouble was expensive and time-consuming. Then along came Cotman, who devised the system, invented the method, and smoothed the tune about automatic transmission repair at a fraction of its cost. And at half the time. The Cotman man. Transmissions keep on shifting. Cotman. We fix transmissions because we know how. For the leaders in preventive maintenance, check your local yellow pages for the Cotman man near you.
I just saved myself a trip to the bank and a trip to the post office. I've got this new thing going with George Bank by phone from Girard Bank. Just paid a month's worth of bills, did a whole pile of banking. I even gave myself a loan. Oh, sure. A few other banks have pay by phone, but Girard lets me pay and bank by phone. You know, it's almost like having a Girard Bank right here in my kitchen.
Ask for a demonstration of George Bank by phone at any Girard Bank office.
Just a reminder that this broadcast is authorized under broadcasting rights granted by the Phillies solely for the entertainment of our listening audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, or other use of the description and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Phillies is prohibited. The announcers on this broadcast, most of them anyway, are retained by WPHL-TV, subject to the approval of the Phillies. Chris Wheeler is the lone exception. He is entirely approved by the Phillies. Speaking of Chris, let's bring him on in here with today's lineup. Chris?
Thank you very much, Andy, I guess. Here are the starting lineups for this afternoon's game as the Phillies take the field for the San Diego Padres. Gene Richards will lead off and play first base. Ozzie Smith, the shortstop, will hit number 2. Gene Tennis will catch and hit number 3. Big Dave Winfield in right field batting 4th. George Hendrick will be the center fielder. He'll hit number 5. Former Philly Oscar Gamble will be in left field. He'll hit number 6. Darrell Thomas will be the second baseman. He'll bat number 7. The third baseman will be Bill Almond. He'll hit number 8. And the pitcher for San Diego this afternoon, an old Phillies nemesis, left-hander Randy Jones. And we'll give the Phillies lineup right after we rise to the playing of our national anthem. this afternoon. Bake McBride will lead off and play right field. Larry Bowe, the shortstop, will hit number 2. Mike Schmidt at third base, batting third. Greg Luzinski, the left fielder, will hit number 4. Richie Hebner at first base, batting fifth. Gary Maddox in center field, he'll hit number 6. Bob Boone will catch and bat seventh. Jimmy Morrison at second base, he's going to hit number 8. And the pitcher for the Phillies, left-hander Randy Lurch.
Remember, fans, you can win up to $5,000 in the Daily News home run payoff on a grand slam, and even more money than ever this year because every hit pays off. Today's payoff inning will be the 6th. Ed Fargo calls balls and strikes. Charlie Williams at first, Terry Tata at second, and Paul Pryor at third. During today's Phillies game, each Philly that homers receives a free case of Tasty Cake and another for Rock Rehabilitation Center. And the same goes for the Phillies winning pitcher. Randy Lurch starting for the Phillies today. Randy with a record of 2-1 and a 2.62 earned run average. He has a 1-0 lifetime record against San Diego. Randy Jones to pitch for the Padres today. He shut out the Phillies on May 4th last year. I should say he beat them in a complete game. It wasn't a shutout. It was 4-1 as he beat Jim Cott. Then he lost to Steve Carlton May 15th, ending a streak of 7 consecutive wins over the Phillies. He was on the disabled list for quite a while, faced the Phillies one more time in August in relief. And the Phillies treated him roughly in that one. He worked only 2 innings and gave up 5 hits and 2 runs. Here's Gene Richards to lead it off for San Diego, left-handed batter. Lurch into the windup, and here's the first pitch to Richards, and it knocks him down. Fastball high and inside, ball 1. That's the way to limber him up in a hurry. Don Williams coaching at third, Phil Roof at first.
Some guys say they don't like to play day games because they have trouble waking up. Well, I'm sure Gene Richards now has the attention of Randy Lurch.
The juices are flowing in Mr. Richards already, believe me. He's batting at 213. Here's the next pitch to him, and it's a curveball low. 2 balls and no strikes. Richards has had a good series. He had a bunt single in last night's ball game. He was also walked a couple of times, and he had 3 hits on Friday. 2-0 pitches outside. Now, Lurch has had some control problems, particularly at the outset of ball games. Left-hander winds. Here's the 3-0 pitch, and it's over the inside corner. A strike call. Lurch has worked 24 innings and has walked 11 and struck out 11. He winds. Here's the 3-1 delivery. Low and outside, ball 4, and Richards gets aboard, and that's always trouble because he is an excellent base runner. Last year, Richards stole 56 bases, a modern record for a rookie. Rookie shortstop, Ozzie Smith. He's a switch hitter. He'll be up here as a right-handed batter, and he doesn't yet have a hit as a right-hander. He's 0 for 7.
An impressive little ball player so far this weekend, and we haven't seen him hit right-handed. He's a good little left-handed hitter.
Stretch in the pitch is high, ball 1. Overall, Smith is batting at 303. Hebner holding the bag at first against the speedy Gene Richards. Here's Lurch's next pitch. It's a ground ball over Hebner's head at first base. He couldn't get it. Fielded in right field by McBride. And we have runners at first and second, and Richards takes a big turn but holds on at second base. I think Hebner thought he was going to get that ball, and then it took an extra large hop over his head. It was nothing but a ground ball, but the AstroTurf hop sent it on through to right field.
And it made it a tougher play because of Richards being such a base-stealing threat. The Phillies, of course, have to hold him on, and he keeps Hebner's attention over there. And Hebner had a little trouble getting back into his normal position, and the ball just hopped right over his head. A real AstroTurf hit.
The batter is Gene Tennis, right-handed hitter, and a fastball is high, ball 1. Tennis hitting at 188. Did not appear in last night's ball game. Padres at first and second, nobody out. Lurch stretches. There goes Richards for third. It's a strike. Here's the throw. He is safe. Stolen base, Richards. Gene Richards steals third base, and that is his 7th steal of the year. Smith stayed at first.
He had a tremendous jump off second base that time. Lurch really didn't even look at him and started walking off of there, and he almost had a running jump and stole that base easily.
That would indicate he was probably running on his own because Smith did not go off first. Pitch on the way to Tennis is a fastball low and inside. The count is 2-1.
And the other thing is Schmidt, of course, has to play back at third because Tennis is a pull hitter. And Richards will notice that right away that Schmidt was way back, and he stole that base with no problem.
Lurch stretches. Pitch on the way to the plate. Curveball, and it's popped up. Playable infield left side. Tough sun to fight. Schmidt is in foul ground. He grabs it for the out. Tennis fouls out to Mike Schmidt. Jason with the bag at third base. That's the first out. And the runners stay where they are. Well, here's the Padres' one real power threat, Dave Winfield. He's a good one. But aside from Winfield, San Diego really does not offer much long ball threat. Winfield hitting at .292, 5 homers, and 14 runs batted in. Winfield hit his 5th home run here on Friday night against Larry Christensen. Pitch on the way to the right-hander. A tapper on the right side, fielded by Morrison. He bobbles, and he's got no play. A run will score, and the Padres have runners at first and second. We'll have to wait and see whether he gets an error. He got a very high hop. He bobbled the ball. He was not going to be able to get the runner at the plate in any event. And they're going to score that an infield hit for Winfield, who gets an RBI.
Well, Morrison was playing Winfield right up the middle, and like Andy said, the ball was hit to the right side and took that little short hop on him. It's the type of ball that a second baseman probably should handle. Jim Morrison is not a second baseman. He's inexperienced and learning to play out there, and in time, if he plays enough, he'll catch that ball, but that ball should be caught.
The Padres have jumped in front 1-0 on the infield single for Dave Winfield, picking up his 15th run batted in. Here's another right-handed batter, George Hendrick. 1 out, runners at first and second. The pitch to Hendrick, low ball. George batting at .246. Silent George Hendrick does not give interviews. In fact, they said he would not even be interviewed for the in-house publication of the San Diego Padres. Here's a strike. Well, that would never bother Chris Wheeler here with the Phillies. He would just go ahead and make up the quotes. 1 ball and 1 strike on Hendrick.
Some guys you can maybe accept that from, but George Hendrick, you know.
Well, if he still carries his .246 average around much longer, he's going to have to start talking to somebody. Here's a curveball grounded toward third. It goes foul. Good stop by Schmidt, but he did it in foul ground. A ball and 2 strikes on Hendrick. Good Sunday afternoon crowd here at the ballpark, and for the 3rd day in a row, Phillies batting gloves are being given out today, autographed by the Bull. Stretches. Pitch on the way to Hendrick. Hard hit ball to right field. McBride retreating. He will get there. Catches the ball. Tagging at second, but just bluffing is Ozzie Smith. Good throw back in by McBride. Hendrick lines out to right field for the 2nd out of the inning. No advance by the runners. And Bake McBride uncorked a "why don't you remember this one" throw back to the infield. And the batter is Oscar Gamble. We were talking about Luzinski a moment ago. Today in the Bull Ring, as guests of Greg, the Allen High School of Allentown, Pennsylvania, for mentally retarded children. Well, here's Gamble in the lineup, despite the fact that Phillies are using a left-handed pitcher. Oscar batting at .214. There go the runners. Double steal, curveball, thrown through to second base. Not in time. Ball gets away, but no chance for Smith to advance beyond third. That'll be a double steal. Smith steals third. Winfield steals second.
It's the first time anybody's really run wild on the Phillies all year. And it was another case of Schmidt being way back with 2 out on that. And Randy Lurch not giving the runner at second base a good look back. He just has to look that runner back a little more. He's going to take off on him. And there's nothing much that Mooney could do about that.
Now Randy will work from the full windup, and the pitch is fouled back. 1 ball and 1 strike to Gamble. The steal of third was number 4 for the rookie Smith. The steal of second was number 2 for Winfield. The Padres have pilfered 3 bases here in the inning, and they lead it 1-0. Wind up in the pitch. Breaking ball is high. 2-1. Baseball had a fine year for the New York Yankees check the Chicago White Sox last year. He had 31 home runs, 83 RBIs. Breaking ball high, 3-1. Switch hitting Darrell Thomas waiting on deck. Gamble, of course, was with the Yankees for part of the season prior to that. Lurch winds. Here's the 3-1 pitch to Gamble. Swing and a miss. Lurch, what a slider by Gamble. Jim Cott running down to the Phillies dugout. Lurch in some first inning trouble, but he's got 2 outs. And a full count. Here's his pitch. Foul ball. Check swing, foul ball by Gamble. It went straight back. Oscar got one of those unbelievable contracts. 6 years, $2,850,000. Pitch on the way to him. Outside and low ball 4, and the Padres have him loaded up. Second walk of the inning. And Darrell Thomas, switch hitter, will come up as a right-handed batter. And the Phillies, I think, have him on the right side of the plate today. He carries a .246 average overall, but he's hitting only .091 right-handed. Cott, who went to the bullpen, is beginning to loosen up for the Phillies. Here's Darrell Thomas, Padres second baseman. He played for San Diego, was traded away to the Giants, and this year the Padres got him back. Pitch is high and outside, ball 1. Padres, with their own personal airline, will leave right after the ball game for Pittsburgh. Here's a breaking ball in for a strike. Thomas had bluffed the bunt. Did not offer it the ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. I guess I shouldn't call it Padre Airline, Padre Airplane. They only have 1. That's enough. That's all you need. 60 first-class seats on that baby. The 1-1 pitch is over for a strike called. A breaking ball right across the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The only other team that owns an airplane, the Los Angeles Dodgers, and I believe they're on their 3rd. They've had one for quite a few years. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Thomas. He fouls it back. Count holds it, a ball and 2 strikes. That's a lot of flying hamburgers for that airline. That's right. They paid $4.1 million for that airplane. They bought it from Northwest Orient. I guess Northwest has a lot of planes available today. They're on strike. 1-2, the count to Thomas. Lurch winds. Here's the pitch again. Darrell gets a piece of it and fouls it back to the press area. What a pitching matchup tomorrow night in Cincinnati. Phillies up against the Cincinnati Reds. And Steve Carlton for the Phillies and Tom Seaver for Cincinnati. They both considered the aces of their staff. Both have had troubles this year. Carlton has won once. Seaver has yet to win. Pitch to Thomas. Ground ball, hard hit, but Schmidt has it. Makes the play over to second base in time to Morrison, and Darrell Thomas grounds out to end the inning. But the Padres get a run. There were 2 San Diego hits, and the bases were left full. At the end of the half inning, Padres 1, Phillies coming up.
Great in any year. MAB paints. When you paint, get the paint that lasts longer. MAB. It gives you more years per gallon. And great in 78 is what people will be saying about the Phillies. MAB has Phillies Great in 78 bumper stickers. And you could win 2 tickets to a Phillies game if one of the MAB spotters sees the Phillies bumper sticker on your car. To get your free Phillies bumper sticker, visit the nearest MAB paint store, dealer, or Rich Lux Home Center in your neighborhood.
Boy, it's really exciting being here at the Indy 500. What do they call this place?
The cafeteria.
Really? You here? How can you tell? You're wearing your racing helmet and practicing. During lunch, practice makes perfect. Would you pass the salt? Sure. So, what are you driving this year? What do you think of that? You're driving a piece of paper? That's my champion Indy 500 sweepstakes entry form. You need that roll eventually. But champion has won at Indy 38 times, and this year they're giving me the chance to win with the winner. To be eligible, all I do is pick a winner and fill out the entry form.
I noticed you filled it out in crayon.
Well, let me have any sharp object.
Put down that spoon. For the first time in the history of the Indy 500, you have a chance to share in the excitement of winning an Indy. Champions Indy 500 sweepstakes. And
anyone who is 16 or older is eligible to win prizes totaling $250,000 with a first prize of $25,000. No purchase necessary. Details and entry forms at participating champion spark plug retailers. Offer void where prohibited by law.
The Phillies over the years, Randy Jones, 9-4 lifetime, and until last year he had beaten the Phillies 7 consecutive times, including 3 shutouts during the 76 season. But Chris, I noticed the Phillies have several left-handers in the lineup today, and there has long been a theory, at least around the press box, that you ought to go after this guy with left-handers, and it doesn't make any difference, and today the Phillies are trying that.
Well, his best pitch is a sinking fastball that he puts on the outside part of the plate. That, of course, is the inside part of the plate to a left-handed hitter. He does not have a good breaking ball. He throws a slider and no curveball. And I've always thought that if you played more left-handed hitters against him, you'd hit him better because the right-handed hitters wind up playing pepper with a shortstop all day.
Randy winds, and here's the first pitch to Bake McBride. It is low, ball 1. Another secret of his success, of course, is not walking batters, and he hasn't been quite as consistent this year. In 21 innings, we'll get it for you in a moment. Here's one right over the outside corner, a strike. In 24 innings of work this year, he has issued 9 walks, which isn't bad, but for him it's a little high. He walked 5 in his opening ball game. Here's the 1-1 to McBride. A slider misses, 2-1. 2 years ago, Jones won the Cy Young Award in the National League. He's still only 28 years of age. Check swing by McBride takes it low, 3-1 the count. He had surgery to repair a bicep in his arm following the 76 season, and there was some feeling that he might never pitch again, but he's come back. Inside ball 4, McBride is aboard.
On that throwing a left-hander in there once in a while. He gets in such a groove against right-handed hitters. He just keeps throwing the ball in the same spot on that outside corner. He's going to throw a left-hander in there and make him change his pattern a little bit.
Well, here's Larry Boa, a switch hitter. Larry, of course, will bat right-handed. Boa hitting at 282. Padres set up for the double play. Here's a throw to first. McBride is back. Jones is working right. He gets lots and lots of ground balls. He does not strike out many. There goes McBride. Here the pitch is a line drive base hit through on the right side. McBride will go to third base. Larry Boa put that ball right through where the second baseman would have been, except Darrell Thomas had gone over to cover second because McBride was running, and that spells single for Boa.
Yeah, exactly, and that's just what Bake McBride does for the Phillies. When he starts to get on base, he can make Larry Boa into so much better a hitter. And Boa has a lot of holes to shoot for, and that's what he did. Just then shoot it right through where the second baseman was standing.
Mike Schmidt. Mike off to a great start this year in a mini slump right now. He is 0 for his last 8. Schmidt batting at .343. Runners at first and third with nobody out. Bill DeMar is coaching third, Tony Taylor at first. The pitch, ground ball, left side of the infield. The shortstop will go to second for 1. That's all they get. The Phillies get a run. McBride crosses the plate, and the Phillies have tied the ball game as Schmidt grounds out 6-4, and he picks up RBI number 16. Mike safe at first on the force out. Ball game as Greg Luzinski comes to the plate. Greg batting at .298. Schmidt at first with 1 away. Jones stretches, throws to first base. Mike is back in time. Schmidt has stolen 2 bases this year. He has been caught once. Randy Jones at the belt. Here's his pitch to the ball. And it's high, a ball. Ball has not had a whole lot of success against him. He usually hits the ball into the ground against Jones. Last year he was 2 out of 7 off Randy, and that's certainly better than he was the year before. Here's a throw to first, and Schmidt was almost leaning the wrong way.
He's gone to a new style to hit off Jones, and last time he was successful, he uses a much heavier bat and just tries to drag the bat a little bit and not be so quick with it.
There goes Schmidt. The 1-0 pitch is outside, throw on through, and they've got him easily. Oh, he was out by 10 feet at second base. Tag administered by Darrell Thomas. It wasn't even close.
I think somebody called time. No, they didn't. And the way Schmidt was standing out there, it looked like somebody had called time and he wasn't going to leave. But that was really a strange play.
Well, that's about as large a margin as you'll ever see a good base runner thrown out by, as long as you watch this game. 2-0 to Lazinski. The pitch is outside, ball 3. You'll see some slow runners, some catchers, heavy men get thrown out by margins like that. Here's a line drive into left field, caught on the run by Gamble, heading to his left. Bull hit it hard, but Gamble moved into left center for the out. For the Phillies, 1 run, 1 hit, nobody left on base. At the end of an inning, we're tied 1-1. Now it's time for a tasty break.
Tasty cake is the golden spring, the brand new love of a golden ring. Tasty cake is the morning sun, it's all the good things wrapped up in one.
10 big games with the Mets, the Astros, and the Reds. This coming weekend, Friday, May 5th at 8:05, it'll be college night. The Mets are in again Saturday, May 6th at 7:35. And a week from today, Sunday, May 7th, Jim Short's Day at 1:35. Then the Astros Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, May 8th, 9th, and 10th at 7:35, featuring baseball's highest paid and one of his most exciting players, Cesar Cedeno. And then the Cincinnati Reds come in with their 3,000 hit man. Surely he'll have it by then, Pete Rose. That'll be May 11th at 7:35, Friday, May 12th at 8:05, Saturday, May 13th, 7:35, and Sunday, May 14th, Ladies Tote Bag Day, a 4-game series with the Cincinnati Reds. You'll definitely want to come out to a couple of those ball games. Shortstop Bill Allman, or make that third baseman Bill Allman, will lead it off for San Diego. Right-handed batter. Randy Lurch winds in the pitch. On the inside corner, a strike. Allman bluffed the bunt.
I think just going back to that play on Schmidt last night, I should mention, it appeared that somebody missed the sign on a hit and run to be thrown out by that much.
Here's the 1-strike pitch. It is high a ball. Allman batting at 328. I'm sure you're right. Pitcher Randy Jones is on deck. We've got brilliant sunshine here at the ballpark. The air is cool, though. I think our temperature's in the 50s. Breaking ball is low. 2 balls and a strike on a check swing by Allman. Just about perfect for baseball. Lurch winds, and here's the pitch. High ball 3-1. Tomorrow night's broadcast will begin at 8:30 over KYW, our flagship station in the Phillies radio network. From Cincinnati. 3-1 pitch on the way to Allman, a foul right at the plate. Full count. Padres got a run in the first as Gene Richards, the leadoff batter, walked and moved on around to score on an infield hit by Winfield. The Phillies answered back in their half of the first inning. Again, as the leadoff batter McBride walked, and he moved around to score on an infield ground ball by Mike Schmidt. Full count pitch. Swing and a hard hit ball. Boa can't get it. It's on through on the left side for a base hit, and Allman has the single. Let's pause for station identification. This is the Phillies Baseball Network.
This is KYW Philadelphia. At 2 o'clock, AccuWeather says from sunny to partly cloudy the rest of the afternoon, becoming partly cloudy tonight, low about 39.
Randy Jones, right-handed batter up there for the Padres. Phillies will be looking for the bunt with 1 on, nobody out. Lurch stretches. Here's the pitch. It's bunted first base side. Lurch will make the play, picks it up barehanded, and throws to Morrison covering the bag at first. The sacrifice is successful. Allman down to second base. Allman to second with 1 away, and the batter will be Gene Richards. Well, sunning himself down below, Ray Shore. Scout for the Cincinnati Reds. Ray with his pocket radio on. He gets a lot of inside information by listening to us.
We sure don't get any from him.
No, never. He doesn't know anything about this game, does he?
He's a very interesting baseball man. I hear he wasn't a bad pitcher either.
Gene Richards at the plate. He walked as a leadoff batter in the ball game. Got a stolen base. He stole third, and then came around to score. A ball game tied 1-1. Lurch wheels around, does not release a throw to second. Good thing he didn't. Boa had not gone to cover the bag. Now time is called. Ball had been looking out towards center field. Now he's coming on in to have a word with Lurch. Well, Larry Boa seemed to have been concerned about teaming up with a new double play combination, but he wrapped out 3 hits, including a triple last night. All right, he's back at shortstop, and we're ready to go. Lurch stretches. Pitch on the way to Richards is a breaking ball low, ball 1.
He's kind of doing what we talked about in the first inning. He's going to make sure that Lurch at least looks back there once in a while at that runner on second base. They've been getting way off the bag on him and stealing third base for easily.
Allman's getting a good lead. Morrison now going over the bag, and Allman goes back. Lurch stretches. Here's the pitch on the way, and it's on the outside corner, a curveball over for a strike, 1-1. Pete Rose starts today just 4 hits shy of the magic 3,000 mark. We'll be anxious to see how he does at Shea Stadium today. Here's a ground ball right side. It's through for a base hit. Being waved around is Allman. Here comes McBride's throw to the plate. It's coming on through, not in time. And the Padres lead it 2-1. Taking second on the throw is Richards. RBI single for Richards. San Diego leads it 2-1. RBI number 4 for the Padre first baseman.
Well, that's the one thing you don't like to see happen in a game. Jake McBride really didn't have that much of a chance to get the runner at the plate, and instead of hitting his cutoff man, he overthrew the cutoff man, and then the base runner will move up into scoring position, and you get one and set up another run. And a play like that, you more or less just concede that run.
Ozzie Smith, the batter, switch hitter, batting right-handed. Got his first hit as a right-handed batter last time up when he chopped one over Hebner's head. Swing and an infield pop-up, first base side. Hebner coming in, halfway toward the plate. He grabs it for out number 2. Smith on one pitch, pops up to Hebner. That's the second out. And here's Gene Tennis. He fouled out to Mike Schmidt. San Diego ahead, 2-1. The Padres led Friday night's game on back-to-back solo homers 2-0 until Jerry Martin unloaded a 3-run shot. Very high fly ball, shallow right field. Second baseman Morrison giving way to McBride, the right fielder, and he grabs it for the third out of the inning. But the Padres get another single run on 2 hits and 1 man left. At the end of an inning and a half, San Diego leads it 2-1.
He wants these. One, that includes the anniversary edition 4-door Mercury Marquis with its traditional full-size luxury and comfort.
Phillies in the second inning will start it with Richie Hebner. It'll be Hebner, Maddox, and Boone to square off against Randy Jones. Padres now ahead in this ball game by a 2-1 score. Phillies leaving right after the game for Cincinnati. And a brief 2-game series out there. They'll play Monday night and again Wednesday night, with Tuesday a scheduled off day. Here's Richie Hebner. Richie batting at .275. And against left-handed pitching this year, Hebner has 4 hits and 7 tries. And, of course, he's facing a left-hander right now, and Randy Jones, whose first pitch is low and inside, ball 1. Jones uses his sinker as his fastball, and he throws it about 90% of the time. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Over for a strike on a slider. The only time he uses a straight fastball is if he's got a 3-0 count. Randy Wines, here's his 1-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss by Hebner. Ball and 2 strikes to Richie. Randy Wines, here's the next pitch. Just got a piece of it and taps it foul. 2 years ago, when Jones won 20 games, he became the first guy in 30 years to win 20 games that didn't have 100 strikeouts. He had only 93. As we mentioned earlier, it's ground balls for Randy Jones. Here's his 1-2 pitch to Hebner. Low and inside on the sinker, 2-2.
He came in with that pitch. He's keeping the ball away from McBride so far, and Hebner for the most part. Hebner's a dead low ball hitter in, and that's right where Jones usually throws.
The 2-2 pitch inside, and we've got a full count. Jones taking quite a few pitches so far. Here's the 3-2 pitch, swing and a ground ball. He did not have an easy first inning, and he's already made 6 pitches to Hebner. Richie with a 318 lifetime average against San Diego pitching. Jones winds. Here's the 3-2 pitch, low and inside ball 4, and he has walked the leadoff man for the 2nd inning in a row.
That pitch where the left-handed hitter really gets a good look at it coming in, and he'll take that pitch where the right-handed hitter looks so fat coming up and then sinks at the last minute, and they swing at it and ground out, and that's why you go back to our theory on using some left-handed hitters against this guy.
Gary Maddox hitting at 305. Jones from the stretch makes a throw to first base, but Hebner standing right on the bag. Padres with Allman at third, Smith at short, Thomas at second, and Richards at first. Hebner swings and misses. That was the sinker ball, and he chased it. 1 strike on Maddox. In the Wednesday night game at Cincinnati, Larry Christensen for the Phillies and Freddie Norman for the Reds. Another throw to first. Hebner's right on the bag. Stretches. Pitch on the way to Maddox. Fouls it back. 0-2 on Gary Maddox. Last year, Gary had some success against Jones. 3 hits and 9 tries. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Maddox. Swing and a pop foul out of play behind the Phillies dugout.
Ideally, the right-handed hitter will try to hit the ball to right field off Randy Jones, and that's what Gary Maddox is trying to do right now. Just hit the ball the other way and not try to pull it and hit the little easy ground balls that Jones lives on. But it's really easy for us to sit up here and say, well, why don't the right-handers hit the ball the other way? It's not quite that easy.
Jones stretches. Here's his pitch. Hard hit ball to left field, close to the line. It's going to go to the corner. Extra bases for Maddox. Here is Hebner around third base, but being held there. Maddox to second with a double. Maddox doubles to the left field corner, sending Hebner to third.
But Gary fought off some tough pitches by Jones earlier in the count and fouled them off, and that time he got Jones to come up with a ball, and he got a good look at that. That might even been a slider. It was up and out over the plate, and he got a good rip at that and was able to pull it.
Bob Boone hitting at 297. Nobody out of the inning. Phillies with runners at second and third. Padres lead the game 2-1. Jones stretches. The pitch to Boone. Low and outside, ball 1. Boone at 297 with a pair of home runs and 9 runs driven in. Jones at the bell. Here's his pitch. A ground ball left side of the infield. It'll score a run. The shortstop, Smith, plays across the diamond to first in time for the out. As Hebner crosses the plate and the ball game is tied, Maddox holds second. Boone picking up his 10th RBI, and both Phillies runs have scored on ground balls to the shortstop.
Believer playing that infield back in these situations early in the game, and it's helped the Padres twice now. That's the type of ball with the infield up could have hopped right over the shortstop head, and the Phillies would have had 2 runs and had an inning still going. Play that infield back early in the game.
So we're tied at 2-2, and here is Jim Morrison, the rookie second baseman. Pitch to him, swing and a miss, a strike. Jones is the kind of pitcher that is likely to give Morrison trouble because you don't see that many guys like him. Pitch always right around the plate. Randy stretches. Here's the next pitch to Morrison. A strike call. Randy gets the jump. No balls, 2 strikes.
So Jimmy, he's a little nervous right now coming up, being thrown into this situation. But he's a very aggressive hitter, and he'll get his swings.
The 0-2 pitch on the way to Morrison outside, a ball. 1-2 the count. Last night, Jimmy was 0 for 3 in his seasonal debut. He did get on base on a walk. He made 1 error in the field. He also started another double play. Now Jones steps off. Maddox at second base. We've got one down. Phillies have tied the game, each team with single runs in each of their half innings. There goes Maddox, pitch to the plate, hard hit ball, base hit. It rolls through beyond shortstop. Maddox will score. Phillies take a lead of 3-2 on the hit by Morrison.
Well, we said what an aggressive hitter he is, and he's a super kid and one of the most likable people you'll ever meet. And Jimmy Morrison can swing the bat, there's no doubt about it, to get his hits in this league.
So Morrison, who had a couple of hits at the tail end of last season, comes through for the first time this year, and the Phillies are ahead on his hit. He was 3 for 7 for the Phillies last year. Here's Randy Lurch, left-handed batter. Randy 3 out of 8 this season. Pitch on the way to him. Hard hit ball to center field. Hendrick going back, still backpedaling, and he grabs it for the out. Lurch gave it a pretty good ride, but that's the second out of the inning. Morrison at first with 2 down. Back to the top of the order for Bake McBride, who has walked and scored. Here's Bake batting at 192. Phillies lead the game 3-2. Left-handed batter who crowds the plate. Throw to first, not in time to get Morrison. Bake was saying on the wrap-up show last night, talking with Harry Callis, that his supply of bats have still not arrived. There goes Morrison. Ground ball through on the right side. A base hit. Morrison will head for third base, and he will get there. Bake McBride grounds a single through on the right side. Morrison running on the play, and the Phillies have done well with that today. Hit number 4 for the Phillies off Randy Jones. Gene Tennis, San Diego catcher, is out to have a word with his pitcher before facing Larry Boa. And here comes Padre manager Roger Craig headed for the mound. Another left-hander, Bob Shirley, is warming up in the San Diego bullpen. And the Phillies have been a little rough on Randy Jones today. Craig's taking a couple of looks at the bullpen. He has not made a signal yet. Phillies lead the game 3-2, but Jones has not been his effective self against the Phillies today. Looks like Roger is not going to make a change here.
I think it's just a matter that Phillies are catching up to this guy a little bit. Hit him hard last year at the end of the season, and looks like he is going to make a change, huh?
I don't know. Jones started to walk off the mound. Now he's back on the mound again, and they're calling in the second baseman, Darrell Thomas, for a brief call. Nobody has left the bullpen yet, and Jones is still standing out there.
Sure looked like he pointed then, didn't it?
Yeah. No, he's staying in the ballgame. Yeah. Jones will stay. Craig now headed back to the San Diego dugout. And Larry Boa, who got a ground ball through on the right side when Bake McBride was running in the first inning. Otherwise, it would have been a ground out. Runners at first and third, 2 outs in the inning. The Phillies lead at 3-2. Here's Boa. First pitch to Larry is the sinker over for a strike. Hit raised Boa's average 10 points. He's at 292. Average is still very volatile this time of the year. Next pitch to Boa. Hard hit ball. Knocked down by Jones. Keeps it in front. Picks it up and throws him out at first base. So the inning is over, but not before the Phillies take the lead with 2 runs. 3 hits. 2 men left on base. At the end of 2, Phil's lead San Diego 3-2.
Dealerships in 100 countries. City water or well water users. If you have water that's hard, staining, bad smelling, or bad tasting, listen. Culligan dealers have equipment specially engineered to solve that problem. You can rent or buy a Culligan water softener, including their exclusive Aqua Sensor, the energy-saving, salt-saving water softener. Your local Culligan dealer is listed on the white pages under C for Culligan.
There's a demanding cat around. He's at your Lincoln Mercury dealers, and he wants these dealers to sell every Mercury in stock. Every one. That means you have a great chance to get into any one of his fine cars right now. From the full-size Mercury Marquis right through his Cougars, Zephyrs, Monarchs, and Bobcats. They're all up for grabs right now. See your Lincoln Mercury dealer quick, because that cat means business. That's a sign of the cat.
The Phillies have a great new giveaway item for everyone 19 years of age or younger when they play the New York Mets right here on Sunday, May 7th at Veterans Stadium. That's a week from this afternoon. Red and white gym shorts with Phillies on the front. A great-looking item that every Phillies fan will want to have. Free Phillies gym shorts next Sunday for everyone 19 or under. Field got an infield hit, RBI, and he stole a base. Dave batting at 301. Highly recruited athlete, could have been a basketball player or a football player. Bluffs a bunt, but takes high, ball one. Each team with 4 hits in the ball game. Neither pitcher has yet picked up a strikeout. The 1-0 to Winfield. Hard hit ball to center field. Maddox racing over to his left and also back, and he catches it at the edge of the warning track. Pretty good shot by Winfield, but Maddox got back there. One down in the third. Here's George Hendrick. He hit the ball hard his first time up, but it was caught by McBride in right. Hendrick in his second year with San Diego. Previously played in the American League with Oakland and Cleveland. Pitch to the right-handed batter. Bounces, ball one. Padres have never beaten Lurch. He is 1-0 lifetime against San Diego. Fastball is low, 2-0. Randy Wines, here's the next pitch. Breaking ball a little high. Falls behind Hendrick, 3-0. Randy has passed out a couple of walks in addition to the 4 hits. Here's a fastball over, a strike, 3-1 the count. 3-1 pitch on the way. It is high, ball 4, and Hendrick draws the third walk handed out by Randy Lurch. Nothing else up on the National League scoreboard yet. San Francisco at Pittsburgh. Nepper will pitch for the Giants and Bert Blyleven for the Pirates. Cincinnati at New York. Tom Hume 2-2 for the Reds, and Pat Zachary 2-0 for the Mets. Chicago, Atlanta. Dennis Lamp against Tommy Boggs. Here's Oscar Gamble at the plate. The pitch to him, swing and a ground ball right side. Morrison comes over, he gloves. There's nobody covering first. Everybody safe. Hebner had gone for the ball. Lurch did not get off the mound, and that'll have to be a base hit. A fine play by Morrison, but he wound up with nobody to throw to.
And you can't pin the blame on anybody but Randy Lurch, and he knows that he had his head down as soon as he realized what he did. It's just amazing sometimes how pitchers will work on that all spring, their whole career, and then a ball's hit to the right side of the diamond, and they just freeze and stand there. And that's just what happened to Randy Lurch. And a good play by Jimmy Morrison to cut off that ball was headed for right field. He would have had him easily.
So an infield single for Gamble, and here's Darryl Thomas, right-handed batter. In this instant, he's a switch hitter. Runners at first and second, 1 out. First pitch low and inside, a ball. In the Dodger-Cardinal game at Busch Stadium today, Don Sutton for the Dodgers, 2-1. John Urea, 1-2 for the Cardinals. Pitch on the way to Thomas, swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike. Cardinals won their first game under their new manager Kenny Boyer last night, 1-0. The Dodgers had 5 consecutive route-going performances until that ball game last night. Still, they got good pitching. The Cardinals had only 2 hits in that game. Lurch ready. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Thomas hammers it foul toward third. In the American League, Baltimore and Chicago, Flanagan for the Orioles and Frisco Barrios for the White Sox. Milwaukee at Kansas City, Mike Caldwell for the Brewers, and Rail to pitch for Kansas City. strikes on Thomas. Phillies lead the ball game 3-2, but the Padres have a threat going again. San Francisco and Pittsburgh are now 1-1 in the second inning. Pitch to Thomas. Well hit ball into left center field. Maddox running hard, way back on the run. He takes that ball. The runners had both advanced as though it was going to drop in. They can't go anywhere. All the way back to second is Hendrick. He could have tagged easily, but he was moving on that well-hit ball by Thomas, but a good running catch by Maddox.
It's a great play by Gary Maddox, especially on a day like this with the high sky and the wind swirling around. And Gary, of course, playing very shallow on a hitter like Darryl Thomas, and he had to run a mile for that ball. He bailed Randy Lurch out of a lot of trouble with that catch.
Bill Allman has singled and scored. 2 down, runners at first and second. Pitch to the right-handed batter. And it's over for a strike. Allman batting at .338. Padres shortstop a year ago. This year they have switched him to third base by way of second. Alvin Dark was going to make him a second baseman. Roger Craig transferred him to third. Allman takes low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Now it's San Francisco 2, Pittsburgh 2 in the third inning. Stretches. Here's his pitch. Breaking ball, tapped foul toward third. Phillies are actually in first place in the National League East right now, having gone by Montreal yesterday by percentage points. The Phillies are 9-7 with a .563 percentage. Montreal 10-8. That figures out to .556. Strikes on Bill Allman. Now Lurch steps off the rubber.
He's having a lot of trouble throwing his fastball for strikes with any consistency, and he's getting most of his strikes with his breaking stuff.
Now again, time called as Larry Boa picks up what looks like a golf ball out there behind shortstop.
What idiot can throw a golf ball?
Probably some long drive from that golf course adjacent to the ballpark. Not adjacent, really. Here's a pitch that really sailed Boone way up to get that one. 2 balls and 2 strikes to count on Allman. Boone doing a great job of coming up with that ball. Hendrick, the runner at second. Gamble, the runner at first with 2 down. Here's Lurch's pitch. Hard hit ball to left field, but Luzinski should have it in range. He's there for the catch, and the inning is over. San Diego does not score. 1 hit, 2 men left on base. At the end of 2 1/2, the Phillies lead it 3-2, and now time for a tasty break. We've just received word from Shea Stadium in New York that Pete Rose, 0 for 1 so far today, flied out to left field in his first at bat. Remember yesterday when he had 5 hits, he struck out his first time up. And from across the street at the Spectrum, halftime word, Philadelphia 47, Washington 47. Here's Mike Schmidt to lead off the third inning for the Phillies. Mike picked up an RBI when he grounded out in the first inning. Pitch on the way to the right-handed batter. Over for a strike. Phillies have 4 hits off Randy Jones. He has also walked 2. One of the hits a double. That was by Gary Maddox. Swing and a miss by Schmidt. No balls, 2 strikes on Schmidt. He'll be followed by Luzinski and Hebner. Phillies lead this game 3-2. Mike among the RBI leaders, also among the leaders in runs in the National League. Jones misses outside. The leader is Joe Morgan at 19. Schmidt has scored 15 times. Davey Lopes has scored 18 runs. Dave Cash and Steve Garvey 17 apiece. Outside again, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Jones winds. Here's his 2-2 to Schmidt. Swing and a foul ball. Count holds at 2-2. Schmidt had only 1 hit in 6 times against Jones last year. Randy pitching 3 times against the Phillies, once in relief. pitch, and it's fouled off by Schmidt.
Mike really fouled off a tough pitch there by Jones. Is that sinker he throws on the outside part of the plate, and it's really a pitcher's pitch. It's a strike, but you can't hit it anywhere, and Mike just fouled it off to the right side.
Here's the next pitch, and it's a ground ball to the shortstop. Ozzie Smith bobbles, but picks it out, throws across, dropped at first base by Richards. He had the ball and dropped it. That's got to be an error on Richards. Safe at first is Mike Schmidt, leading off the third inning. Richards draws the air. Allman will get an assist. Or not Allman, but Smith, the shortstop, gets an assist. Richards, of course, not a pure first baseman. He's basically an outfielder. And he must have just lost his concentration on that one. Here's Greg Luzinski. Pitch to the right-handed batter. Hard hit ball, and it goes off the glove of Allman at third. Trickles into left field. Here goes Schmidt heading for third base. He will make it. And Schmidt takes a big turn right there. That'll be a hit for Luzinski off the glove of third baseman Bill Allman.
That's a good scoring call there, because Allman probably should have caught the ball, but Luzinski really smoked that thing right at the third baseman. Anytime you hit a ball that hard coming off this AstroTurf, you almost have to give the hitter the benefit of the doubt on that. Well, like we mentioned, uses that heavy bat now against Randy Jones, and he's hit 2 shots off him today.
So here's Randy Jones, who likes to get ground balls, and he's gotten 2 of them this inning, and he's in trouble. Richie Hebner, the batter, and again, left-hander Bob Shirley up in the San Diego bullpen. Pitch to Hebner, hard hit ground ball, but foul off the first base side. Let's pause for station identification. The Phillies Baseball Network.
This is KYW Philadelphia. Here at 2:30, AccuWeather says becoming partly cloudy tonight, breezy, low about 39. Tomorrow, intervals of sunshine.
1 strike the count on left-handed batting Richie Hebner. Runners at the corners. Here's Jones' delivery, and it's a pop-up. A mile high, infield right side. Hebner flips the bat. It'll be second baseman Darrell Thomas catching it about 15 feet from first base. Hebner pops out to Thomas. That's the first out of the inning. Schmidt stays at third, and the Bull stays at first. Gary Maddox, who put a double down into the left field corner in his first try. With a scoreboard lead of 1 run, 3-2. Maddox batting at .317. Padres looking for a double play. Fly ball into medium distance right field. Should be deep enough to score Schmidt. The ball is caught out there by Winfield, and without a throw coming on, the Phillies have picked up another run. Sacrifice fly RBI for Maddox. The Phillies lead the ball game 4-2. RBI number 8 for Maddox, holding at first base Luzinski. And here's Bob Boone batting with 2 outs. Pitch to Bob, over for a strike. Boone grounded to short in his first time up. Phillies scored a run on the play, and he picked up RBI number 10. Pitch to Bob. He drops a bunt, but it goes foul. Drag bunt by Boone, but he put it foul. A ball and 2 check that. No balls and 2 strikes on Boone. Randy Jones stretches. Here's the pitch to Boone. It's low. 1-2 the count. Boone batting .289. Phillies have scored another run. They have scored in every at-bat so far. There goes Luzinski. It's a ground ball to shortstop. Smith will have only 1 play. Throws across to first in time for the out. The Phillies have scored a run in the third on 1 hit. There was an error. That'll make the run unearned. And there was 1 man left on base. Harry Callis will be here in a moment with the play-by-play at the end of 3. Phillies lead San Diego 4-2.
4th inning, Phillies leading by a score of 4-2, and Randy Jones will lead off for San Diego, batting for himself. He sacrificed his first time up. Lurch's pitch to him is a fastball low for a ball. 1-0 to Randy Jones. Wind up by Lurch, and the pitch to him is a fastball low again. It's 2-0. Bills lead 4-2. Hits are even at 5 apiece. Fourth inning. Here's the pitch to Jones. Low again. Ball 3-0. Wind up by Lurch. 3-0 pitch. Over for a strike called. 3-1 to Jones. He'll probably look at another one. Jones, a lifetime 1-17 hitter. 3-1 pitch. Over for a strike called. A full count. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out with a fastball. That's the first strikeout for Lurch, who came back from a 3-0 count to punch out Randy Jones. 1 down. That'll bring on Gene Richards. Richards has walked and singled. Padres had a chance to have a big inning in the first. They stole 3 bases, had 2 hits and 2 walks, but got 1 out of it. Here's the pitch to Richards. On the inside corner with a good fastball, 1 strike to it. Richards has had a good series here, save for the drop ball at first base that cost the Padres a run. Slider missing low, and it's 1-1. There's the 1-1 pitch to him. Fastball, bounded to shortstop Larry Bowie. He has it and throws, and Richards is out by a stride, 2 down. We'll bring up the rookie shortstop, Ozzie Smith. He has singled and popped up. The single was his first hit right-handed. Overall, he is batting .310. But coming into this game, he was 0 for 7 right-handed. 2 outs, nobody on base in the fourth. Here's the pitch to Ozzie Smith, a curveball, a tie for a ball. Wind up by Lurch in the pitch. Fastball is low. It's 2-0. The 2-0 pitch. Fastball outside. 3-0. Lurch winds. 3-0 pitch. Fastball is over. It's 3-1 to Ozzie Smith. 3-1 pitch. Swing, fly ball, shallow center. Gary Maddox is right there. Gary squeezes it, and that'll be it for the Padres. They go down in order for the first time. No runs, hits, or errors, and none left. We move to the bottom of the fourth. Phillies lead San Diego 4-2. When you paint this year, select the paint that lasts longer. MAB Seashore House Paint. It gives you more years per gallon. In fact, it's the best paint you can buy. That's because MAB Seashore House Paint was especially designed for the harsh, rugged weather conditions on the shore, like wind, rain, sun, and especially salt air. So when it comes to painting your home, inside or out, think of MAB in the more than 300 MAB paint stores, dealers, and Rich Lux Home Centers. Bank AmeriCard and Master Charge accepted.
What's happening? I'm Gary Maddox.
And I'm his wife, Sandra. I'm serving Gary's favorite dish, roast turkey stuffed with cornbread dressing.
You know, Sandra's always been particular about the quality of the ingredients she uses when she cooks.
So this time I used Acme Blankets to brand, pre-baked turkey, and a lot of other Acme products.
That really looks good.
You can make really good turkey and cornbread stuffing with a special Phillies home plate recipe free at Acme Super Saver. Take it from Sandra and Gary Maddox.
Now, it's what
Plymouth Arrow gets great mileage, 39 on the highway, 29 in the city, and has a low sticker price, $38.41, excluding taxes and destination charges, and features like reclining buckets, tinted glass, and fold-down rear seat. So when you get a Plymouth Arrow, you get your money's worth. The mileage is an EPA estimate for a manual transmission Arrow with 1.6-liter engine. Your mileage may differ. The Plymouth Arrow's great mileage, price, and features give you your money's worth. See it today at your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer. Well, the Phillies have a very abbreviated road trip coming up to night and Wednesday night with an off day Tuesday, and right back home here for lots of games. 3 clubs will be coming in: the New York Mets, the Houston Astros, and the Cincinnati Reds. Starting on Friday, May 5th, the New York Mets on College night. Jim Morrison leads off for the Phils. He singled and drove in a run his first time up. Ground ball to third. Bill Ullman has it on a big hop and throws, and Morrison is down on 1 pitch. 1 down. That'll bring out pitcher Randy Lurch. Lurch flied out to center field his first time up. Randy has been up at 9 times this year. He has 3 hits, 1 of them a home run. He's hitting .333. Here's Jones' pitch to Lurch. Swings and he misses at a breaking ball. 1 strike to Lurch. 1 strike pitch to Randy is another slider that's low, and it's 1-1. Randy Jones, 1-1 pitch. Swing, a high ground ball to short. Ozzie Smith has it, his throw, and plenty of time. Lurch is out, 2 down. That'll bring out Bake McBride. He has walked and scored a run and singled.
Bake looks like he's starting to get his act together a little bit, and I heard you with him on the post-game show last night, Harry. And he's so important to the Phillies offense. He gets the team going. He opens up holes for Bo as the number 2 hitter, and then sets up things for Schmidt, Lazinski, and Hebner. He loves the hot weather, and it's starting to get a little warmer, and he's starting to swing better.
Now, there's no question the man can hit. Lifetime .316 batting average. He takes a breaking ball low for a ball. Bake is still without his supply of bats, which is the shortest bat in the major leagues. He's using Ted Sizemore's right now. Fastball is over. It's 1-1.
Said his bats went to Pittsburgh, and they sent him back to the company, and he's still trying to find them. They probably sent him to some Little League team.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swing, a hard ground ball off the glove of Gene Richards. He retrieves and throws over the head of Randy Jones. Goes down the first base side. Bake heading for second base and will roll into second. The hard ground ball right at Richards. It clunked off his glove, and by the time he retrieved, he threw over the head of Randy Jones. Gene Richards having a tough day in the field. It'll be a double error. Bake McBride gets to first base on his juggle of the ground ball and goes to second on his overthrow of Randy Jones.
Say it clunked off his glove?
So that's 3 errors so far on first baseman Gene Richards, who had been enjoying a good series here until today. Randy Jones was injured as he was covering first base, and time has been called.
He twisted his ankle, Harry.
Jones trying to get over there and cover the bag, and the Padres trainer is out looking at him. At second base and 2 outs as they're looking at Randy Jones' ankle as he turned it a little bit while covering first base. Throw was over his head. Yankees have taken a 2-0 lead over Minnesota behind Ron Guidry. Only score to report in the American League. The National League, San Francisco has jumped in front of Pittsburgh 3-2 in the 4th inning. Bob Knepper against Burt Blyleven, and Manny Sandee hit a home run for the Pirates in that game, his first. Cubs lead Atlanta 1-0 after 1. Dennis Lamb for Chicago and Tommy Boggs for Atlanta. Los Angeles and St. Louis 0-0 after 1. Don Sutton and John Urea. New York Mets lead Cincinnati 1-0 after 1. Pat Zachary going against his ex-mates for the Mets, and Tom Hume for Cincinnati. Jones is all right. Here's Larry Boa. Boa's 1 for 2, is singled and grounded out. Pitch to Boa. Swing and a smash, glove-handed by Randy Jones. Boa hit a shot right up the middle, but speared by Randy Jones. So the Phillies are out in the 4th. No runs, no hits, 2 Padre errors, 1 left. And after 4, the Phillies lead San Diego 4-2.
Stops, squeaks, loosens rusted parts, lubricates hinges, sliding doors, zippers, even fishing reels. It's WD-40, the amazing lubricant. sale now at Penn Jersey Auto Store for just $1.11, presenting 88 cents. So solve all your sticky problems with WD-40, the problem-solving spray lubricant. Now just $1.11 at Penn Jersey, which is why they say, when your car's not running like it did before, make a pit stop at Penn Jersey Auto Stores.
I'm a PhD in economics, right? I run around to 3 stores to buy food, so I save $1 here, $1 there, and yet I let $200 sit in my checking account where it doesn't earn a cent. No more. Now I use the George machine at Girard Bank to move money from my savings to my checking account only when I need it. With George, I push the buttons and I'm the brains behind the bank.
I invite you to join Jay Johnstone for 10 days in the Hawaiian Islands, departing Philadelphia on October 30th for just $6.99. This 10-day trip includes Honolulu, Kona, and Hilo. Complete price is $6.99. That includes United Airlines scheduled flights, deluxe hotels, plus breakfast and dinner every day in Honolulu. October 30th, 10 days, Honolulu, Kona, and Hilo, $6.99 complete. Jay and Mary Jane Johnstone host this great Haddon Travel trip to Hawaii. For a free brochure, call Haddon Travel at Pennsylvania WA32816, in New Jersey 795-5550. Gene Tennis leading off takes the breaking ball high for a ball. Tennis is fouled out and flied out to right. 1-0 pitch on the way is high again, ball 2. So call Haddon Travel for that 10-day trip to Hawaii with Jay and Mary Jane Johnstone. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Swing and a line drive foul down the left field side. Enjoy the beautiful islands and the lovely Mai Tai.
What's a Mai Tai, Harry?
Mai Tai is a rum drink.
You ever had one?
It is outstanding. I have had a couple in my day.
Probably one of the great understatements of our time.
2-1 the count to Tennis. Pitch on the way is a little bit wide, and it's 3-1. Tennis set a Padres team record with 125 walks last year. 3-1 pitch. Swing and a foul off his ankle. Goes into fair territory, but it hit his foot at the plate and bounded out to Randy Lurch, and that one stung. Full count for Gene Tennis. 3-2 to Tennis, leading off the Padres fifth. Pitch to him. Hard ground ball, fair ball down the left field line. Caroms to Luzinski. Tennis on his way to second, and he goes in sliding with a double. So Gene Tennis is shot down the left field line. That's hit number 6 for the Padres. Tennis at second base and nobody out. Brings on Big Dave Winfield. Winfield is singled to knock in a run and flied out to deep right center.
Randy's been pitching uphill all afternoon, really. He's been behind in the count. He's a lot of trouble getting all his pitches over. He's more successful with his breaking ball than anything. The Padres are not a great hitting team, but if you keep pitching behind in the count, any team is going to hurt you.
There's a stretch by Lurch, and a pitch to Winfield is low and inside for a ball, 1-0. Phillies lead 4-2. We're in the 5th inning. Now the stretch by Lurch, pitch to Winfield, fastball high and outside. It's 2-0. Nothing to Winfield, who leads the Padres and runs batted in with 15. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Breaking ball, a big swing and a miss by Winfield. He tried to knock it to Trenton. Went all the way around on the pitch. No contact. 2-1.
Good pitch by Lurch in that spot, too, because Winfield knows he's struggling. In a 2-0 count, he's got to think he's going to throw him a fastball. He was sitting on dead heat then and got the breaking ball.
There's the 2-1 pitch. There's a fastball drilled to right field. Fake McBride is there. Makes the catch, and Tennis will hold at second base. So Winfield is out on a fly ball to right. One down, it brings up George Hendrick. He is lined out to right and walked. And again, Warren Brewster gets up in the Phillies bullpen. the pitch. Fastball is over to Hendrick for a called strike. Now the stretch by Randy and the pitch. Change and a foul ball. One of the few changes Lurch has thrown today, and a couple he has thrown have been effective. 0-2 the count to Hendrick. Now the Phillies will be at Cincinnati tomorrow night. Broadcast time will be 8:30 tomorrow. Quite a pitching matchup. Steve Carlton and Tom Seaver. Pitch on the way is bounced off the plate, foul down the third base side. Either Seaver or Carlton off to a good start, but everyone knows the type of quality they possess. Cy Young winners. 0-2 the count holds to Hendrick. Two-strike pitch, breaking ball, low and inside. It's 1-2. There's a stretch by Lurch. 1-2 pitch, but the pitch does not count. Time had been called. The ball is loose down the third baseline, so that will be no pitch. 1-2 to George Hendrick. Gene Tennis at second base and one out. 1-2 pitch. Fastball high and away. It's 2-2. Now the stretch by Lurch. 2-2 pitch. Change is high. It's a full count to George Hendrick. Randy Lurch stretches. 3-2 pitch, breaking ball, broken back ground ball to deep short. Boa long throw, got him. Hendrick is out. And on the play, Tennis holds at second base. Tough play for Boa because Schmidt had ranged far to his left and actually ran in front of Boa as Boa caught the ground ball. But Boa throws out Hendrick, 2 down.
Another big pitch by Lurch, too. We said a little while ago he's been using his breaking ball to get his outs, and George Hendrick right there, a 3-2 pitch, is probably looking for a fastball, and he got the breaking ball in on him and got him to break his bat and ground out weakly to Boa, and Larry did make the good play on the ball.
There's Oscar Gamble. He has walked and singled, and the pitch to him, swing and a high fly ball to deep right field. Fake McBride away back. This ball's out of here, and the ball game is tied. A home run for Oscar Gamble ties the game at 4. Jumped on a breaking ball that just cleared the right field fence. The first home run of the year for Oscar Gamble, and he is out of this game at 4-4. Gamble hit 31 up last year at Chicago, and that's why the Padres paid a ton of money for this guy to try to get a long ball. Another long ball threaten their lineup. Gamble has hit his first of the year. That'll bring on Darryl Thomas. So we're tied at 4 in the 5th inning. Thomas swinging a ground ball to deep short. Larry Bowa has it and throws, and Thomas is out. So the Padres go down to the 5th, but not before Oscar Gamble ties the game with a 2-run homer. 2 runs, 2 hits, no errors, and none left. We move to the bottom half of the 5th inning. It's Phillies 4 and San Diego 4. Here's the most successful car in its history, Polaris. Today we've got it in 3 styles, and all give you your money's worth. The Slant 6 Coupe that gets better mileage than any 6-cylinder automatic built in America. The sedan, the roomiest in its class. And the wagon that's become the #1 selling wagon in America over the past 2 years. Coupe, sedan, or wagon. Polari gives you your money's worth. See it today at your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer. Mike Schmidt will lead off for the Phillies, bottom half of the 5th inning. This game tied at 4. Schmidt is 0 for 2, has grounded into a fielder's choice and been safe on an error. He has driven in a run. 4-4 ball game. Randy Jones ready to go. Here's jumped on the first pitch and grounds a single to center field. The Phillies had a hit number 6 off Randy Jones. That'll bring up Greg Luzinski. Luzinski has lined out and singled off the glove of Bill Allman. Mike Schmidt first base, nobody out. Score tied at 4. Both Randy Jones and Randy Lurch struggled today. A throw to first base and Schmidt gets back. Mark Lee is up in the San Diego bullpen. Pitch to Luzinski, and he takes one low and outside for a ball. 1-0 to Greg Luzinski. A throw to first base again, and Mike Schmidt gets back. Schmidt with a base hit and snapped the mini slump. He was 0 for 10. Pitch is a pitch out, and nothing is on. 2-0 the count to Luzinski. The Padres have been very leery of the hit and run.
It's a good time to do it again with a 2-0 count.
There's the 2-0 pitch. Outside, ball 3. 3-0 the count to Luzinski. He looks down at Bill DeMars to see if he can swing. Chris Wheeler says no, he will not be swinging. All right, we shall see. The 3-0 pitch takes high, ball 4. He walked him. Phillies have their first 2 men on base. Walk given up by Jones. So 2 men on base, nobody out. It'll bring on Rich Hefner, who has walked and popped up. Hefner looking at Bill DeMars. Is he going to lay the ball down?
Well, Hefner doesn't like. You don't usually see your 3, 4, or 5 guys bunting, but it's a good time to bunt. I kind of think he's going to let him swing the bat.
Coach manager Roger Craig is coming up. Roger Craig coming out to the mound, and he's going to make a change right here. He is going to make a pitching change here. He's stuck with Randy Jones for a long time, and now he has decided he's seen enough, and Bob Shirley, the left-hander, has been called in from the Padre bullpen. We're in the bottom half of the 5th inning. The score is tied at 4. We have a pitching change for San Diego, and we'll be back after this brief pause.
Phillies fans, here's a great chance to win a free 1-week vacation for 2. It's a grand and glorious vacation for 2 at the delightful oceanfront Golden Inn in Avalon, New Jersey, and there's no obligation. Just stop in, register your name for the Golden Inn sweepstakes at any of the 3 Colonial Federal Savings and Loan offices. In Philadelphia, 1206 Chestnut Street, and Drexel Hill at Lansdowne Avenue and State Road across from Bonds, or in Havertown or Westchester Pike across from the Noah Shopping Center. Vacations like savings should be planned. Do both at Colonial. We pay the highest interest allowed by law, and we compound interest daily. But there's no obligation to open an account to win the Golden Inn Vacation Sweepstakes. All you do is register your name. The Golden Inn has 2 swimming pools, a spacious poolside terrace, a luxurious dining room, music, dancing, and the most delicious food in South Jersey. Win this great vacation for 2. Register today at any Colonial Federal Savings and Loan office in Havertown and Drexel Hill or in Philadelphia. Drawing is June 16th, member FSLIC.
You know, with the purchase of selected General Electric major appliances, General Electric is giving away a U.S. savings bond.
Bonds away!
That's from now until May 31st. You know, gentlemen prefer bonds. You can get a great General Electric major appliance and use the savings bond to help finance a trip. Bon voyage. Or use the bond to buy something great, like chocolate-covered bonbons. So see your GE dealer today.
Bonsai!
Home Appliance Center, 95 East Lancaster Avenue, Paoli. 95 East Lancaster Avenue in Paoli.
New pitcher coming in for San Diego is left-hander Bob Shirley. Shirley has won none and lost 3 in 5 previous appearances. 3 of them have been starts. His earned run mark 4.26. 19 innings, he's given up 21 hits, 9 earned runs. He struck out quite a few, 14, and walked quite a few. He's walked 10. Richie Hefner will be the first one to face him with Schmidt at second base, Luzinski at first base, nobody out. Score tied at 4. Shirley's pitch to Hebner. He's down to bunt, and he drops the bunt down in front of the plate. Tennis one play to first base. They get Hebner. The sacrifice is good by Hebner. It goes Gene Tennis to Gene Richards for out number one. Schmidt moving up to third, and Luzinski to second.
I still think that if Jones had stayed in the game, Hebner wouldn't have bunted because Jones is the type of pitcher that runs that fastball in on the left-handed hitter. And once Shirley came in, then that changed the strategy around because he's more of a conventional left-handed pitcher. He'll throw the bigger breaking balls. That's why he probably bunted him in that spot.
There's Gary Maddox, and they're going to put Maddox on intentionally. Gary's had a good ball game. He has doubled and hit a sacrifice fly, has scored a run and knocked one in, and cracked down a couple of deep fly balls with good running catches. So Maddox will be intentionally walked to set up a double play possibility, and they'll pitch to Bob Boone. There's ball three, and here comes ball four to Gary Maddox. And we'll pause here for station identification along the Phillies baseball network.
This is KYW Philadelphia. At 3:02, it's sunny and 62 degrees on Independence Mall.
Here's Bob Boone. The base is loaded, one out. Score tied at 4. Bob Shirley stretches. Here's the pitch to Boone. A breaking ball is over for a strike call. Shirley is 23 years old. He comes out of Cushing, Oklahoma. He's 12 and 18 last year in his rookie year for the Padres. Strike to Boone, who's nothing for two. The pitch to Boone, breaking ball, popped up, foul. Allman near the stands, runs out of room. Nothing in two to Boone. Mike Schmidt at third base. Greg Luzinski at second base. Gary Maddox at first base, one out. Ron Reed is starting to throw in the Phillies bullpen. Game tied at 4, bottom half of the fifth inning. Major League debut defeated Cincinnati 12-4. April 10th of last year. Spent most of last season in the starting rotation. Here's the two-strike pitch. Fastball is outside. It's 1-2. Bases loaded, one out. Score tied at 4. Shirley's 1-2 pitch, low, and it's 2-2. There's a stretch by Shirley. The 2-2 pitch, swing and a fly ball into center field, not too deep. Hendrick is there, makes the catch. Schmidt will walk home, and the Phillies lead it 5-4. Hendrick, who had to go to his left, not in position to make a throw, and Mike Schmidt scores on the sacrifice fly by Bob Boone. Boone drives in his second run of the ball game, and the Phillies lead it 5-4. Holding at second, Luzinski, Maddox at first, 2 down. That'll bring up Jim Morrison. Morrison is single to drive in a run and is grounded out. Pitch to Morrison is a breaking ball. It's over for a strike call. Run will be charged to Randy Jones. Pitch to Morrison is another breaking ball. It's high, and it's 1-1. Phillies lead 5-4, bottom half of the fifth inning. Pitch. Swing and a pop foul back up over the screen. Ball and 2 strikes to Jim Morrison. Stretch by Shirley. field foul line, and it's a foul ball and out of play. Good effort by Gene Richards, but he couldn't catch up with it. Tried to make an over-the-shoulder catch, and there'll be no play on it. Stays 1-2 to Jim Morrison.
Tough play for Gene Richards. The fans are getting on him a little bit. A little better first baseman or a guy who plays there all the time might have caught that ball and gotten Shirley out of this inning. It's still a tough play when you have to run that far and try and take a ball over your shoulder looking up into this high sky and bright sun.
1-2 the count holds to Jim Morrison. 1-2 pitch to him is inside with a breaking ball. It's 2-2. Greg Luzinski at second, Gary Maddox at first. 2 outs. Here's the 2-2 pitch outside with a changeup. Full count to Morrison. So the runners will be moving with 2 down. And the 3-2 pitch. Breaking ball low. He walked him, and that'll load the bases. Randy Lurch is going to be taken out of the ball game, and Davey Johnson will come in and pinch hit for Randy Lurch. That'll be the second walk given up by Shirley. The first an intentional walk to Gary Maddox. Phillies have the bases loaded. 2 outs. Lead 5-4, and Davey Johnson batting for Randy Lurch.
Jim Morrison just found out what it's like to hit in the number 8 hole, too. It's a couple runners moving in a game that's still close, and he gets a 3-2 breaking ball.
Second walk given up by Shirley. The first an intentional walk to Gary Maddox. Phillies have the bases loaded. 2 outs. Lead 5-4, and Davey Johnson batting for Randy Lurch.
Jim Morrison just found out what it's like to hit in the number 8 hole, too. It's a couple runners moving in a game that's still close, and he gets a 3-2 breaking ball.
Davey Johnson has 2 hits and 25 at bats. He's batting at 080. 1 run batted in. Johnson has struggled in the early going. Comes up here as a pinch hitter with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Wind up by Shirley, pitch to Johnson, fastball over at the knees for a strike call. Ron Reed coming in for the Phillies bullpen. He'll be the new pitcher. Pitch to Johnson, another fastball is over for a strike call. So Shirley is quickly in front of Davey Johnson, 0-2. Here's the 2-strike pitch. Outside with a fastball, 1-2. Greg Luzinski at third, Gary Maddox at second, Jim Morrison at first, and 2 outs. The 1-2 pitch, swing and a foul down the right field side, out of play. Stays 1-2 to Davey Johnson. Bob Shirley on here in the 5th inning in relief of Randy Jones. 1-2 pitch. Fastball, pop foul out of play. Shirley's coming right after the pinch hitter, Davey Johnson, with nothing but fastball. Ball and 2 strikes.
He threw Jim Morrison a lot of junk to hit it right before Davey Johnson, but he's not taking any chances here. He's like Harry said, he's just throwing nothing but fast stuff.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. There's a breaking ball that's low for a ball, and it's 2-2 to Davey Johnson. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Phil's lead by a run, 5-4. The 2-2 pitch. Fastball grounded foul down the third base side. Stays 2-2 to Davey Johnson, batting here for Randy Lurch. Phillies have the lead, and Lurch could win this ball game. The Phillies could hold the lead if he puts the necessary 5 innings. 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball way in the dirt. A good block by Gene Tellis. So it's a full count to Davey Johnson. to Johnson. Fans coming to life here at Veterans Stadium. The stretch by Shirley. 3-2 pitch. Swing and a long drive. Deep left field has got a chance. A grand slam. Davey Johnson has just hit a pinch hit. Grand slam home run. Phillies now lead it by a score of 9-4. Davey Johnson has slammed, and what a time for it. He's been struggling all year. Davey comes in as a pinch hitter, and he is really excited. Johnson fouled by his teammates in the Phillies dugout, and the Phillies lead it 9-4, and here's Fake McBride.
No, that's just super. And what a hand Davey Johnson's getting. They're going to make him come out of the dugout. He's been struggling and struggling. Here he comes. Very, very popular player among his teammates, and it's really been pulling for him. And he got two fastballs that he took right off the bat in this town, and then winds up hitting a grand slam. Just super for Davey.
Here's Fake McBride, and the pitch to him is top foul out of play. Davey Johnson, a pinch hit slam, and the Phillies now lead it 9-4. Next pitch to Bay, ground ball up the middle, and that's a base hit to center field. They tried second hit of the ball game. That'll bring up Larry Bow as the Phillies have batted around. Davey Johnson is homered for a case of tasty cake for him and wife Mary Ann. Son David, daughters Dawn and Andrea, and also one for the Bacharach Rehabilitation Center. Bo's 1 out of 3 has hit the ball hard all 3 times. A throw to first, and Fake nearly caught leading. Dives back in safely. Phillies lead it 9-4, bottom half of the 5th inning. Well, when I came in here, Chris Wheeler said the home run payoff inning would be the 5th inning. It is not. It's the 6th inning. Had it been this inning, somebody would have won $5,000. 2 outs, Fake McBride at first base. Here's the pitch to Boa. Swing and a pop foul out of play. 1 strike to count to Larry Boa. Stretch by Shirley in the pitch. Swing and another foul ball down the first base side. This is out of play. 0-2 to Larry Boa.
That's a book out here, and I can't find Davey Johnson ever having hit a career grand slam before. Maybe we just can't find it, or just overlooking it or something. But you think he might have hit one, with all those home runs that he hit that one year, and he used to hit a few in the American League.
You would think he hit 43 that one year in Atlanta. You would think he would have a slam. Maybe it is his first. Pitch on the way. He tried to check his swing and did check on a low pitch. They're appealing to Charlie Williams, the first base umpire, but Williams said no swing. Ball him 2 strikes to Larry Boa. Fake almost caught leading again. A close play at first base, and McBride is back. Stretch and the pitch to Boa. Swing and a line shot to center field, but George Hendrick there and makes the catch. Boa has really hit the ball hard today, but he has 1 for 4 to show as he lines out to Hendrick. Now the Phillies have quite an inning. 5 runs in the inning. 3 hits, big blow, a pinch hit grand slam by Johnson. No errors and 1 left. And at the end of 5, the Phillies lead the Padres 9-4, and now it's time for a tasty break.
Baseball is batting averages, home runs, and a lot of vital statistics. But there's also a lighter side to the game, like nicknames. For instance, remember Puddinhead, Stosh, the Matlock, and Putt-Putt? Can you name this famous quartet? Why don't you toss that around? Treat yourself to something everyone thinks of, especially when they're in milk, butter, and eggs, and topped with a layer of buttery crumbs. Or sink your teeth into cream-filled coffee cake. The same mouth-watering cake filled through and through with luscious vanilla cream. And now here's the answer to our tasty cake baffler. Puddinhead, Starch, the Mad Log, and Hot Bud. For none other than Willie Jones, Stan Lapata, Russ Meyer, and Richie Ashburn. All members of the famous 1950 Whiz Kids. The Phillies and Tasty Cake. Still, all the good things wrapped up in one.
From the KYW newsroom, these are the top stories of the hour. The Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin is on his way to the U.S. for a week-long visit, which will include talks with President Carter and fundraising functions marking Israel's 30th anniversary. Meanwhile, Israeli forces in southern Lebanon are conducting another troop withdrawal. A convicted spy who has been serving time in the federal prison at Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, has been released to be exchanged for an East German prisoner. At the half, the 76ers are tied with the Washington Bullets. KYW News Time, 3:16.
Ron Reed, the Phillies' new pitcher, coming on for Randy Lurch. Starts Bill Allman with a strike, comes in with a changeup inside, and it's 1-1 to Allman. Allman has singled and scored a run and has flied out to left field. 1-1 pitch to Allman is a change again inside. It's 2-1. It's Randy Lurch's game to win if Reed can hold the lead, and Reed's game to save. Phillies lead 9-4 in the sixth. There's the 2-1 pitch. Fastball low, and he falls behind Allman 3-1. Mike Champion is in the on-deck circle. The bat for the pitcher, Bob Shirley. Pitch. Swing and a pop foul behind the Phillies dugout. And this ball is out of play. Full count. Davy Johnson's grand slam home run, it is confirmed, was the first of his career. 3-2 to Bill Allman. Ron Reed is appearing in his sixth game in relief for the Phillies. He's pitched 9 in the third inning. He's given up 9 hits, 2 runs. Struck out 4, walked 2. There's a pitch on the way, and it's strike 3 called. He struck him out. Fastball on the inside corner. Allman is out on strikes. That'll bring on Mike Champion. Champion to pinch hit for Bob Shirley. Champion's been up at 5 times. He has 2 hits. On the way to Champion, it's over for a strike call. 1 strike to the pinch hitter Mike Champion with 1 out. 6th inning, Phillies leading at 9-4. Pitch to Champion, blowing inside, and it's 1-1. Now a 1-1 pitch, swing and a foul on a play, a ball and 2 strikes. Grand slam for a Phil has been quite some time ago. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Threw a fastball by him. Champion goes down. Second straight strikeout for Reed. 2 down. That'll bring on Gene Richards. Last pinch hit slam by a Phil was by Ricardo Joseph back in 1967 off the Dodgers' Ron Aronofsky. Rick Joseph this spring in the Dominican Republic.
Grand slam home run is such an exciting play, but it becomes doubly exciting when you have a 3-2 count and the fans clapping like that and the guy hits it as a pinch hitter. That was really an electric moment.
There's Gene Richards, and the pitch to him is high for a ball. Richards is walked, singled, and grounded out. Phillies lead this one 9-4. We're in the 6th. Reed winds. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Fastball. He threw it by him. A ball and a strike to Gene Richards.
Davy Johnson will be talking all the way to Cincinnati tonight.
Well, he deserves it. It's good to see that because Davy has struggled in the early going this spring.
1-2 pitch. Change missing outside. I have no idea what the change is because he throws a slip pitch, a pound ball, and a straight change. The 2-2 pitch. Just missed outside. A full count to Gene Richards. I think he might throw a forkball, too. 3-2 pitch. Swinging a foul, straight back and over the screen, stays 3-2. Reed has about 3 or 4 changes. I think he just does that. He is the same. I think he just does that to you to confuse shit. He doesn't throw all those pitches. 3-2 pitch. Swing and a drive to left field. Luzinski playing him perfectly, makes the catch right near the line. No runs, hits, or errors, and none left. We move to the bottom of the 6th. Phillies lead the Padres 9-4.
There's a demanding cat around. He's at your Lincoln Mercury dealers, and he wants these dealers to sell every Mercury in stock. Every one. That means you have a great chance to get into any one of his fine cars right now. From the full-size Mercury Marquis right through his Cougars, Zephyrs, Monarchs, and Bobcats. They're all up for grabs right now. See your Lincoln Mercury dealer quick, because that cat means business. At the sign of the cat.
You know, with the purchase of selected General Electric major appliances, General Electric is giving away a U.S. savings bond. Bonds away! That's from now until May 31st. You know, gentlemen prefer bonds. You can get a great General Electric major appliance and use the savings bond to help finance a trip. Bon voyage. Or use the bonds to buy something great, like chocolate-covered bonbons. So see your GE dealer today.
Bonsai! Nate Ben's Reliable, 2116 Market Street in Philadelphia. Well, this is it, fans. Time for another Daily News home run payoff. And now you can win even more money because every hit pays off. A single pays $20 plus 4 tickets to a future game. A double pays $50 plus tickets. And a triple pays $100 plus tickets. And you still can win $1,000 for a homer and $5,000 for a grand slam. Use the entry coupon appearing every day in the Daily News. The more times you enter, the better your chances. And remember, now every hit pays off. Mike Schmidt leads off in our Daily News home run payoff inning. The new pitcher for San Diego is Mark Lee, a right-hander. Lee is appearing in his 4th game. He's pitched 5 1/3 innings, given up 3 hits, no runs. He has struck out 1, walked 1. No record and an ERA of 0 point. Lee was called up when Mickey Lolich was placed on the disabled list. Mike Schmidt will be swinging in our Daily News home run payoff for Michael Sheptak of Hatboro, Pennsylvania. Schmidt has 1 out of 3. He's been safe on a fielder's choice. And safe on an error in his single. He has driven in the run and scored 2.
George Hendrick broke the strap on his sunglasses out in center field. He's either coming in to get a new pair or to fix the strap.
So big right-hander Mark Lee. The Phillies saw this fellow in the first game of this series, and he pitched fairly effectively against the Phils. Mike Schmidt to be followed by Greg Luzinski and then Richie Hebner. Phillies leading 9-4. The big blow of this game, a pinch hit grand slam by Davey Johnson. Mark Lee is ready to go. Mike Schmidt batting for Michael Sheptak of Hatboro, Pennsylvania, in our Daily News home run payoff. Here's a pitch on the way to Schmidt. Fastball inside for a ball. San Francisco has gone in front of Pittsburgh 5-3 on Mark Hill's 2-run homer. 1-0 pitch. Swinging a ground ball, hit the deep short. Ozzie Smith is going to have to gun. He does. Gets Schmidt by a fraction of a step. Nice play by Ozzie Smith at deep short. Schmidt is out on a close play, and Michael Sheptak of Hatboro. He'll get 4 reserve seat tickets to a future Phillies game. 1 down, that brings on Greg Luzinski, who is lined out to left, singled and walked. Greg is batting for F.S. Carbone night to Luzinski. Wind up by Lee in the pitch. Slow for a ball, 1-1. Lee, the third pitcher to be used by Roger Craig today. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Luzinski. High foul down the right field side, way out of play. Ball and 2 strikes. Craig batting for F.S. Carbone of Media, Pennsylvania. Our Daily News home run payoff. Here's the 1-2 pitch to the bull. Strike 3 called on the inside corner. Luzinski is called out on strike. F.S. Carbone of Media. He'll get 4 reserve seat tickets to a future Phillies game. That's 2 down, and that'll bring on Richie Hebner. Hebner batting for Bruce Weaver of Philadelphia. Hebner has walked, popped up, and sacrificed. He's 0 for 1. By Lee, here's the pitch to Hebner. High for a ball. Lee's 1-0 pitch. Fastball missing outside. It's 2-0. 2 outs, no base runners. Bottom of the 6th. Phillies lead the game 9-4. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Swinging a ground ball foul down the first base side. 2-1 the count to Hebner. Cincinnati tomorrow night. Steve Carlton going against Tom Seaver. Broadcast time tomorrow will be 8:30. And 7:30 on Wednesday night against the Reds. It'll be Larry Christensen against either Bill Bonham or Fred Norman. 2-1 pitch. Breaking ball is over for a strike called. It's 2-2. Effective against the Phillies in his brief stints in this series. There's the 2-2 pitch. Fastball high and away, a full count. 3-2 to Hebner. Gary Maddox waiting on deck.
What we get from the Reds, Harry, is it's almost definitely going to be Norman on Wednesday. Bonham is still having that elbow problem, and they're going to hold him out another turn, it looks like.
Wind-up, the 3-2 pitch to Hebner, swing and a high pop-up in the infield. Ozzie Smith, the shortstop, is waiting, and Ozzie squeezes it. Hebner is out. Bruce Weaver of Philadelphia will get 4 reserve seat tickets to a future Phillies game. Join us again tomorrow night from Cincinnati when in a designated inning you could win up to $5,000 in Daily News home run payoff. No runs, hits, or errors, and none left. And at the end of 6, Phillies lead San Diego 9-4.
I used to think of the George machine at Girard Bank as my own private money game. If I forgot to go to the bank or needed cash on a weekend, there he was. Proceed to go and collect $200. Man, I own that withdrawal button. You know what I mean? And then I looked at all the buttons. Wow. Checking, savings, deposits, loans, transfers, balances. I got a whole bank right here. Now I do my everyday banking with George. I push the buttons, and I run the bank.
George lets you be the banker. Girard Bank. We're there when you need us.
Here's a great oil bargain from 10 Jersey Auto Stores. Castrol's best GTX in 10W40 and 20W50. Now just 69 cents a quart, limit 6. You'll save 30 cents a quart during this limited sale. You'd better pick up some right away. Castrol GTX motor oil, only 69 cents a quart at 10 Jersey Auto Stores. Which is why they say,
when your car's not running like it did before, make a pit stop at 10 Jersey Auto Stores. seventh inning. Let's pause here for station identification along the Phillies Baseball Network. This is KYW Philadelphia. At 3:30, it's sunny and 62 degrees on Independence Mall. Phillies go to Cincinnati for the short two-game series right back here at Veterans Stadium on Friday, May the 5th against the New York Mets. Here's Ozzie Smith, and he loops one behind second, grab by Larry Bohr. Ozzie Smith is out on one pitch here in the seventh. That'll bring up Gene Tennis. He's 1 out of 3, has doubled and scored a run. The Mets at Veterans Stadium on the 5th, 6th, and 7th of May. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Sunday will be Jim Short's day. There's a pitch on the way to Tennis. Ground ball foul down the third base side. Everyone 19 and under getting Phillies Jim Shorts on the 7th against the New York Mets. And Houston will be in the 8th, 9th, and 10th. The pitch is trying to check his swing on a changeup. But he went around on it as Ed Fargo checks with Charlie Williams, and Williams says yes, he committed himself. 0-2 to Tennis. Here's the two-strike pitch. Fastball is high. It's 1-2. 1-2 pitch to Tennis is low and inside. It's 2-2. Ron Reed in his second inning in relief of Randy Lurch, trying to save it for Lurch. Phillies lead 9-4. The 2-2 pitch. Slider is popped foul behind the Phillies dugout. Now to play. Here's the 2-2. Just missed inside. A full count to Tennis. Here's the 3-2 pitch. High and inside, ball 4. He walked him. So Tennis is a base runner with 1 out. That'll bring up Dave Winfield. Winfield is singled to drive in a run, flied out to deep right center, and flied out to right. Tennis, the base runner at first base, and 1 out. Winfield hitting .293. There's Reed's stretch, and the pitch to Winfield. Fastball low for a ball. Belt, and the next pitch is low again. Ball 2 falls behind Winfield. 2-0. Phillies leading 9-4. We're in the 7th. Big blow in this game has been a pinch hit grand slam off the bat of Davy Johnson. Here's the pitch to Winfield. Hard ground ball, base hit center field. Tennis will stop at second base. So Winfield picks up his second hit. Padres have 2 men on base and 1 out. Paid at Tennis this afternoon is $31,101. There's George Hendrick, the center fielder. He is lined out to right, walked and grounded out. Gene Tennis at second base. Dave Winfield first base, 1 down. Here's the pitch to Hendrick. Fastball is over for a strike called. Reed stretches. Here's the pitch to Hendrick. Swing and a bouncing foul at the plate. 0-2 to him. Gene Tennis second base. Dave Winfield first base, and 1 out. There's a stretch by Reed. 2-strike pitch. Slider missing outside. 1-2. out in the bottom half of that inning. And that's how it stands now. Phillies leading 9-4. Here's the pitch to Gamble, and it's a fastball at the knees for a strike call. One strike to Oscar Gamble. Stretch by Reed, and the pitch to Gamble is a changeup outside for a ball. It's 1-1. 2 outs, 2 men on base. Gene Tennis at second, he walked. Dave Winfield at first, he singled. There's the 1-1 pitch to Gamble. Swings and he misses at another changeup. So Reed's in front of Gamble, a ball and 2 strikes.
You're right, he's thrown 2 changeups this inning. They've both been different speeds. So if you can pick that pitch up, you're a genius.
1-2 pitch. Fastball looped into left field. It's going to fall for a hit. Tennis being waved around third, now held up. The throw comes in, and the Padres have the bases loaded. A looping single to left off the bat of Oscar Gamble, who's now 3 for 3, and San Diego has him loaded with 2 outs. That'll bring on Darryl Thomas. Thomas is grounded into a fielder's choice, flied out to deep center field, and grounded out. Right-handers Dan Spillner and John D'Acquisto get up in the Padre bullpen. Bases loaded, 2 down. Thomas, a switch hitter, batting left against Reed. There's the pitch to him. Fastball over at the knees for a strike called. Wind up by Reed, and here's the pitch to Thomas. Swings, and he misses at a good fastball. 0-2 to Darryl Thomas. Bases loaded with Padres, 2 outs in the 7th. Tennis at third, Winfield at second, Gamble at first. Reed winds the 2-strike pitch. Fastball low and away, 1-2. Wind up by Reed. 1-2 pitch, fastball high and outside. It's 2-2.
Reed's not messing around with Darryl Thomas. He's thrown him 4 pitches now, 4 fastballs. He's kind of just saying, here it is, hit it.
Here's Reed's wind up, the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a ground ball to first. Richie Hebner has it, makes the unassisted put out, and Reed gets out of the bases loaded jam. No runs for San Diego, 2 hits, no errors. 3 men left. We go to the bottom half of the 7th inning. The Phillies lead the Padres 9-4. Time was station wagons only came in one side. The bottom half of the 7th inning, Phillies leading 9-4. For more play-by-play, here again is Andy Musser.
Brian, Harry, thank you, and Gary Maddox will lead it off for the Phillies. An explosive ball game. There's been a lot of scoring in this one. And of course, the big hit, the grand slam by Dave Johnson, his first career grand slam home run. Well, Maddox has had a good day, too. He has hit a double and scored, drove in a run on a sacrifice fly, was walked intentionally, and scored ahead of Davy's slam. Here's Gary now facing young right-hander Mark Lee, whose first pitch is inside a ball. Lee has yet to give up a run in his brief major league career. This is only his 4th appearance. He winds. Here's the next pitch to Gary Maddox. Check swing, foul ball, and it was only fouled by about a foot down the third base side. Had that fallen in, it might have been extra bases for Maddox. The Phillies have scored in every inning but 2 so far today. 1 ball, 1 strike on Gary Maddox. Right-hander winds. Here's his pitch. It's low, 2-1. Well, tomorrow night, the Phillies will hope that Tom Seaver doesn't get well against them. Tom had a struggling start for the Reds, and he will match up against Steve Carlton tomorrow night. Maddox swings, and here's a fly ball well hit towards center field, but Hendricks should get it, and he takes it for the out. Maddox out on a fly ball to center field, first out of the inning. Here's Bob Boone. Bob has driven in a pair of runs, one on a ground ball, one on a sacrifice fly. Officially, he's 0 for 2. Final score. Oh, hold on. It's going into overtime, I guess. Philadelphia and Washington going into overtime at 109. Pitch on the way to Boone, outside, ball 1. Bob batting at 282. Here's the next pitch to him. It's slow. 2-0 to Boone. Randy Jones started for San Diego today, but the Phillies got 6 runs and 6 hits off him. One of the runs was unearned. Boone takes low ball 3, 3-0. Bob Shirley pitched just 1 inning. The Phillies got 2 hits and 3 runs off him. He gave up the slam to Johnson. And now Mark Lee. Low ball 4. He walks Boone on 4 pitches. First batter walked by Lee. And here's Jim Morrison. Well, he's participated in the Phillies scoring today. He drove home a run with a single in the second, and he scored ahead of the slam by Johnson after drawing a walk. Morrison, right-handed batter. Padres setting up for a double play. Pitch to Morrison. Base hit back through the middle. He stroked it hard right up the middle. And the Phillies have runners at first and second. Second hit of the ball game for Jim Morrison. Good to see the youngster come through. He admitted to being nervous last night, which is understandable. But today he has come through with a pair of hits.
Reed just got called back into the dugout. I don't know whether he's going back for instructions or whether Danny Ozark's going to hit for him in this spot. Tug McGraw has been throwing down there for about 2 or 3 minutes, and he's throwing pretty hard down there. Like he looks like he expects to come into the game, so Danny might be making a move right now.
On the scoreboard, San Francisco leads Pittsburgh 6-3. They're in the 8th inning. The Dodgers and the Cardinals are still scoreless. They have played 5. Jay Johnstone emerging from the dugout with a bat. The Jay of Johnstone, the bat for Ron Reed. Well, Jay has had his problems as a pinch hitter this year. He is 0 for 5 swinging as a pinch hitter.
Well, he remains a very, very popular player in this town. And as soon as his head popped out of the dugout, the fans reacted. It's one of those things. There's nowhere to play Jay right now.
Reed is out of the ball game. He worked 2 innings, giving up just 2 hits. Here's the left-handed batting Johnstone. Runners at first and second. Pitch to Jay, in for a strike call. Johnstone batting, well, 0-0-0. He's 0 for 7. Boone at second, Morrison at first. Phillies lead the game 9-4. Jay takes low, ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike to Johnstone. Phillies trying to sweep the San Diego Padres after winning Friday night and again Saturday night. Mark Lee stretches. Here's the 1-1 to Johnstone. Inside, a ball. 2-1. Ready to work. The 2-1 pitch to Johnstone. Outside, ball 3. Lee came in the game in the 6th inning had a perfect 1-2-3 round, got the first batter this inning, and now has given up a walk and a hit. Jay swings and grounds a foul behind first. Dan Spillner, right-hander, is up in the Padre bullpen. And Tug McGraw throwing in the Phillies bullpen. We have a full count on pinch hitter Jay Johnstone batting for Ron Reed in the Phillies' 7th inning. Good place right here for Danny Ozark to start his runners with one out and a good contact hitter like Johnstone at the plate. Lee stretches. There go the runners. The pitch is a ground ball right side, fielded by the second baseman. Thomas throws to first in time for the out, and the runners each advance. 2 down in the inning. Johnstone's grounder sending Boone to third and Morrison to second. Fake McBride to the plate. Fake officially 2 out of 3. He was also on a walk and scored. Gene Kenneth keeps looking in the dugout, and I think he expected an intentional walk, but they're going to pitch to McBride 9-4 in the 7th inning. What the heck? Roger Craig has made that move frequently this weekend, though. Fake takes a strike on the outside corner right at the knees. Been burned a few times with it, too, and that'll get you a little gun-shy after a while. 1 strike on McBride. Phillies back home next weekend to play the New York Mets. It starts out with college night, 8:05 on Friday. Swing and a drive over the head of second baseman Thomas, and a couple of runs will score. Boone scores, Morrison to the plate. And the Phillies add 2 more runs and lead the game 11-4. Hard hit line drive, just eluding the glove of Thomas at second base. And Fake McBride has RBIs number 4 and 5. You could see it coming a little bit with him last night. He hit a line drive his first time up last night for an out. And ever since then, he's hit the ball hard. And it's so important to this team for him to hit like he is now. Those are the first runs scored against Mark Lee since he was called up. Here's Larry Boa batting left-handed. Hard hit ground ball scooped up by Richards at first. He can't get McBride, so he runs over to the bag and he gets Boa. For a moment he was dancing with McBride trying to tag him out, but he couldn't get him. Phillies in the 7th get a pair of runs on 2 hits, and 1 man is left on base. At the end of 7, the Phillies lead 11-4.
Right now, Tasty Cake has something for you that should really put a smile on your face. It's savings of 15 cents or more on family packs of butterscotch, jelly, and lemon cream-filled crimpets, and a new apple-filled crumb cake. A brand new spice cake cupcake. You'll find these savings at your favorite store. Tasty Cake. It's all the good things wrapped up in one.
The cat is really on the prowl at your Lincoln Mercury dealers. He wants these dealers to sell every Mercury in stock. Every one. That includes the anniversary edition 4-door Mercury Marquis with its traditional full-size luxury and comfort, plus a special value package featuring...
One of the best ways for you and your friends to have a night out in the town that you'll never forget is to attend a Phillies ball game in a group outing. Just pick out a date, call the Phillies group sales experts at HO35000, and they'll take care of the rest. A group outing at the Phillies is fun for everyone, so make that phone call right now. Call HO35000 and come on down to the vet for all the excitement of Phillies baseball. Well, we have had some excitement here today. And the Phillies lead this ball game 11-4, and now Tug McGraw comes in to try to nail it down. And the Phillies have stationed Jerry Martin in left field, replacing Greg Luzinski. So Martin goes to left as we go here to the Padres' 8th inning. Explosive ball game today. Almost everyone taking part in the Phillies offense. So Tug McGraw comes on as the 3rd Phillies pitcher of the afternoon. Tug has won his only decision of the year. He is appearing in a 7th ball game, which ties him with Gene Garber for staff high. And the Tugger with an amazing 1.12 earned run average. He has also earned against St. Louis. Bill Ullman will lead it off for San Diego. Bill 1 for 3 this afternoon, scored one of the Padres 4 runs. Right-handed batting third baseman. Left-hander McGraw winds. Here's the pitch. Ullman squares around the bunt. It's a fastball over for a strike. Lurch worked the first 5 innings. He'll be the winner if the Phillies hang on. Reed worked 2, and now Tug McGraw. Breaking ball, line to Boa at shortstop. He's out. Ullman hit it sharply, but he's out. And that's the first out of the 8th inning. Now let's see who the Padres are going to bring out. Their pitcher, Mark Lee, is due. Nobody out on the on-deck circle. Home plate umpire Ed Vargo is staring toward the San Diego dugout. You're supposed to have somebody out. Vargo says it's going to be a right-handed batter when he gets here. He just made the motion to the press box that somebody's coming. Be patient. Like a pretty good swing there by Ed Vargo, the motion he just made. And it's Bob Davis, reserve catcher, who I believe was in the bullpen, and that's why it took a while for him to get here. Bob Davis will be the pinch hitter for San Diego, right-handed batter, who once had a 3-hit ball game against the Phillies. Davis, the hitter. He's batting at 204 hits and 20 times up. Davis in his 4th big league year from Pryor, Oklahoma. Davis to face Tug McGraw with 1 out, nobody on in the Padre 8th inning, and the Phillies lead this game 11-4. Crowd of over 31,000 watching the action. Breaking ball is in for a strike. Phillies bullpen effective as usual again this year. They really have a great bullpen. Here's a foul at the plate. Correction on the home run information on Dave Johnson. It's his first Grand Slam in a Philly uniform, but it is his 4th career Grand Slam home run. Number 4 for Dave Johnson. The 0-2 pitch is popped foul out of play off the first base side.
I mentioned that at the time that happened, Andy. That couldn't imagine that he had never hit a Grand Slam before, but in this year's Green Book going through it, we couldn't find one for him. So I guess Larry Shank went back through some books and found it somewhere. It seemed inconceivable we could hit that many home runs and never hit a Grand Slam.
Here's the 0-2 pitch, swinging a ground ball, fouled on the third base side and just foul. Probably the information on Johnson was lost during the time he was out of the league. No balls and 2 strikes, the count on right-handed batting Bob Davis, pinch hitter. Tug winds, here's the pitch. Swing and a miss, he strikes him out. Davis goes down swinging as Tug picks up a strikeout. 2 outs, nobody on base. Here's Gene Richards. Phillies ahead in the game 11-4. Still nothing up in St. Louis. Dodgers and the Cardinals scoreless in the 6th. The Giants continue to lead the Pirates 6-3. They're in the 9th inning. And in the 5th, the Mets are ahead of the Reds, but it's now 6-4 New York in the 4th inning. Richards, left-handed batter, 1 for 3 today. Over for a strike. Richards has driven in a run. He has also stolen a base. Tug winds. Here's the next pitch. It is low. 1 ball and 1 strike. We'll be on the radio network tomorrow night at 8:30 from Three Rivers Stadium. That's Riverfront Stadium, I beg your pardon, in Cincinnati. Swing and a miss. Ball and 2 strikes. Steve Carlton against Tom Seaver tomorrow night. And Pete Rose with a chance. And his 3,000th hit. The 1-2 pitch on the way to Richards. Hard hit ball back through the middle. Tug couldn't get it. Boa can't get it. It's a base hit. Richards comes up with his second hit of the ball game. Well, that's hit number 10 for San Diego, and oddly enough, the hits are all even in this game, 10 aside, but the Phillies lead it by the wide margin of 11-4. Ozzie Smith, the shortstop, he's 1 for 4. Switch hitter batting right-handed against McGraw. Stretches. Here's the pitch to Smith. He pours it through for a strike. The one-strike pitch to Smith. Checks his swing and takes outside on the curveball. 1 ball and 1 strike. Padres have committed 3 errors in this ball game, and they have all been by first baseman Gene Richards. Down at first right now is a base runner. 2 outs. Pitch to Smith way outside. 2 balls and a strike to Ozzie Smith. He has shown us some fine plays in the field in this series. He certainly doesn't look like a rookie shortstop defensively. Here's Tug's next delivery. It's inside. 3-1.
He has very good infielder actions. Sometimes you can just see a player and you can tell what kind of player he is. And he's got the good instincts and the good throwing arm. He's going to be a good player.
Tug stretches. Here's the pitch to Smith. Fly ball to center field. Gary Maddox going to his left and back a little bit. He takes it for the out. And the Padres are retired in the 8th inning. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. At the end of 7.5, the Phillies lead this ball game 11-4.
A team's greatness is shown by the brand of baseball they play. And it's the same with the Acme team of meat specialists who have their brand too. It's Lancaster brand. And they make sure it stands for the finest quality meats of every kind and variety. But they're the experts in choosing and cutting meats, in answering your questions, and in filling your special requests. So for quality Lancaster brand meats, depend on the Lancaster brand team.
Saved myself a trip to the bank and a trip to the post office. I've got this new thing going with George Bank by phone from Girard Bank. Just paid a month's worth of bills, did a whole pile of banking. I even gave myself a loan. Oh, sure. A few other banks have pay by phone, but Girard lets me pay and bank by phone. You know, it's almost like having a Girard Bank right here in my kitchen.
Ask for a demonstration of George Bank by phone at any Girard Bank office.
Right-hander John D'Acquisto, the new hurler for San Diego. We pause for station identification along the Phillies Baseball Network.
This is KYW Philadelphia. At 4 o'clock, it's sunny and 60 degrees on Independence Mall.
Final score from the Spectrum in overtime. Washington defeated the 76ers 122-117. That's got to be an upset in the first game of a best-of-7 Eastern final. Here's John D'Acquisto facing Mike Schmidt. And the fastball is outside, ball 1. D'Acquisto hardly used by the Padres this year. He has pitched only 2 innings so far in 2 ball games. 26-year-old right-hander who hails from San Diego. Another fastball is high, 2-0 to Schmidt. Mike 1 for 4 this afternoon. D'Acquisto owns a restaurant on Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco, along with John the Count of Montefusco. Pitch to Schmidt, swing and a miss. And a strike to Mike Schmidt. He'll be followed by Jerry Martin and Richie Hebner. Swing and a miss by Mike. 2-2. Schmidt batting at .338. When he singled in the 5th inning, he broke an 0 for 10 mini drought. He also has an RBI in this game on an infield grounder. Here's the 2-2 pitch. He fouls it back. Was removed from this ball game for a pinch hitter. He was ahead by 1 run. And the pinch hitter was Dave Johnson, who hit a slam. Swing and a miss. Schmidt strikes out. D'Acquisto comes out of the bullpen to strike out Mike Schmidt. Only the second Philly batter to go down swinging today. Then Jerry Martin gets his first at-bat of the ball game. Jerry put in the game at the top of this inning for defensive reasons. Jerry batting at .263. His 3-run homer won the ball game here Friday night after the Padres had taken a 2-0 lead. Jerry swings and misses strike 1. It appears as though D'Acquisto has a good moving fastball.
No one's ever said that he can't throw hard. His biggest problem is he can't throw strikes.
He winds, and here's the next pitch. Foul to the screen by Martin. 0-2 on Jerry Martin.
He's a guy that was so wild that night, and Larry Christensen was trying to duck out of the way of a couple of his pitches and wound up hurting his back a couple years ago because the guy was all over the place.
John pitching for the Giants at that time. He's ahead of Martin, 0-2. Here's the pitch. High a ball. Randy Jones, the starter for San Diego today, and he stands to be the losing pitcher in this ball game. D'Acquisto winds. Here's his 1-2 pitch. Foul back. Phillies heading for Cincinnati right after the ball game. And our airtime tomorrow night from Three River Stadium is 8:30. Tuesday is an off day. The Phillies and the Reds will meet again at 8 o'clock on Wednesday night. Check swing, foul ball by Martin. The Yankees still lead Minnesota 2-0. That game's in the 7th. Kansas City 1-0 over Milwaukee in the 4th. Boston and Texas scoreless in the 4th. Baltimore 4-1 over Chicago. Their game in the 5th inning. The 1-2 pitch to Martin. Swing and a miss. He went for a high fastball. And D'Acquisto picks up his second strikeout. 2 outs in the Phillies' 8th inning, and Richie Hebner will be the batter. Hebner is 0 for 2 with a walk and a sacrifice. He has scored 1 run. D'Acquisto had elbow surgery back in 1975. Pitched only 28 innings that year. He's come back to throw hard. He misses on the first pitch to Hebner. It's outside ball 1. 1-0 pitch on the way. Broken bat, pop foul off the third base side. Coming hard is Allman. He catches the ball just shy of the Padre dugout. Fine running play by Allman as Hebner fouls out. And the Phils are retired in order in the 8th inning. At the end of 8, Phillies lead the Padres 11-4.
Plymouth Arrow gets great mileage, 39 on the highway, 29 in the city. He has Phillies Great in 78 bumper stickers. And you could win 2 tickets to a Phillies game if one of the MAB spotters sees the Phillies bumper sticker on your car. To get your free Phillies bumper sticker, visit the nearest MAB paint store, dealer, or Rich Luck's home center in your neighborhood.
Only at Acme Super Saver can you get famous Lancaster brand meats. The meat you buy with confidence and serve with pride. Over the years, Lancaster brand has earned a well-deserved reputation for consistent quality and fine taste. This week, get a Lancaster brand sirloin steak, full cut, no tenderloin removed, for just $1.59 a pound. Lancaster brand, sold only at Acme Super Saver.
At Acme Super Saver, serving you is our policy and my pleasure.
New pitcher for the Phillies is Warren Brewster as we go to the ninth inning. He's the fourth pitcher of the afternoon behind Lurch, Reed, and McGraw. And a new battery as he is working with Barry Foote. Gene Tennis at the plate. He swings and misses at the first pitch by Brewster, strike one. Next pitch to the right-handed batter is fouled back. Brewster ahead, 0-2. Warren working in his fifth game this year. He has no record and a 5.40 earned run average. He has worked 5 1/3 innings. Young right-hander winds. Here's his next pitch, low. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Tennis. Gene 1 for 3 on the afternoon, a double. He has also walked. Check swing, and he takes it low, 2-2. Tennis to be followed by Winfield and Hendrick. Phillies lead this game 11-4. Brewster winds, and the next pitch is low and inside, and we've got a full count. A big blow today for those of you filing out of the spectrum and picking up our broadcast. A grand slam by Davy Johnson. Here's ball 4 to Tennis. And he led the National League in drawing bases on balls a year ago, and he has 2 of them in this game.
Danny Ozark right now just trying to give some of his bullpen group a little work. He puts Tug McGraw for 1 inning, Ron Reed for 2, and now he's brought Warren Brewster into the game. And Brew just hasn't had much work. A lot of the guys in the bullpen haven't had much work because the Phillies have been getting really good starting pitching, something that everybody said was going to be the problem with the team. Well, so far the starting pitching has been very effective.
Winfield at the plate for San Diego. 2 out of 4 today for Dave. He drove in a run and he stole a base. Pitch to the tall right-handed batter. Ground ball, deep shortstop. Boa gloves over to second. That's all they get. What a slide down there by Tennis, who practically bowled over Morrison, and Tennis is hurt. Tennis comes away limping, and, well, he caused it.
Yeah, he's a hard player, Gene Tennis. He doesn't, just because it's 11-4, he doesn't quit on a game. And Jim Morrison's a rookie out there, and he really doesn't have his footwork all together yet. And he was kind of half on that bag and half off, and Tennis saw a shot to give him a pretty good blindside shot there. Only Morrison got out of the way and didn't get hit real hard, and Tennis took the brunt of it.
Tennis is all right. He's walking back to the dugout now under his own steam. Here's George Hendrick, and he takes a strike. Hendrick 0 for 3 with a walk. Reed struck him out when he batted in the 7th inning. A swing and a foul back. Phillies on top, 11-4.
One thing Jim Morrison will find out there is he's always going to get that perfect throw from Boa. Boa very, very rarely gives his second baseman anything but a good chest-high or head-high toss, and that's what he gave him then.
The 0-2 pitch to Hendrick, a slider low and outside, and George almost chased it. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Brewster stretches. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Hendrick misses a slider and goes down swinging. That's the second out of the inning. 2 down, and the batter is Oscar Gamble. Gamble's had a big day. He's been on base every time. A walk and 3 hits, including a 2-run homer in the 5th inning, which tied the ball game at that juncture. The Phillies were ahead 4-2, and he tied it up. But the real explosion was yet to come. Outside, ball 1 to Gamble. Phillies win this ball game. It'll be the 18th time in their last 21 ball games that they've beaten San Diego here at the Vet. The Padres have never had much luck here. Low ball 2-0. Good crowd today, 31,101 to polish off batting glove weekend. Gamble swings, line shot left field, his 4th hit of the ball game. Isn't that something? A liner the opposite way that falls in front of Jerry Martin, and Gamble picks up his 4th hit of the day.
Oscar's a real free spirit and a character, and he was kidding around the batting cage on Friday night that a lot of the Phillies at the Padres weren't even playing him. They're paying him all the money, and they weren't even playing him. He was saying that he really thought that the Padres are going to try and get rid of him. And he's always been a pretty good hitter. I'm surprised that he would ever hit 30 home runs anywhere, because he's got power, but I didn't think he'd ever hit that many home runs. But he's a good hitter and does a decent job in the outfield. But $3 million, you just have to wonder.
Darryl Earl Thomas, the batter. He's 0 for 4. Padres at first and second with 2 down. Warren Brewster trying to nail it down. Randy Lurch would be the winning pitcher, and it would be his 3rd victory. He would be the first Phil to win 3 games this year. Swing and a fly ball to left field. Martin should get it a few steps toward the line. He grabs it, and the ball game is over as Thomas flies out to left field. And for the Padres in the ninth, no runs, 1 hit, and 2 left on. Phillies win the ball game 11 to 4. And a case of Tasty Cake to go to today's winning pitcher, Randy Lurch, and one to Bach Rock Rehabilitation Center. We'll be back with the wrap-up in a moment. Were ahead on the scoreboard when Davy Johnson came to the plate as a pinch hitter in the 5th inning with the bases loaded, batting for Randy Lurch. The Phillies had a single 1-run lead at that time, but Davy made it look easy as he unloaded his 4th career grand slam, first in a Phillies uniform, and that was the major blow in this ball game as the Phillies beat San Diego 11 to 4. And before we wrap it up, let's call Chris in for a final comment. Needless to say, by the way, Davy Johnson is going to be Rich Ashburn's guest on the Tasty Cake wrap-up show.
Yeah, it should be a good show to listen to Davey talk about the home run. He struggled all season so far and got the big home run. And the Phillies are doing what they did last year. They have to win at home, and especially beat on the teams that are not as good as them, like the Padres. And they won the game Friday night. They shouldn't have won it. And then they really beat the Padres good the last 2 games. So go off to Cincinnati and see if we can win one there for a change.
It's been a while, hasn't it? Totals on this one for the Phillies: 11 runs, 10 hits, no errors, and 6 men left on base. Padres, 4 runs, 11 hits, 3 errors, and 12 men left on base. The winning pitcher, Randy Lurch, he's 3-1, the first Phillies pitcher to achieve 3 victories. The losing pitcher, Randy Jones, he is 1-2, and the Phillies have treated Randy harshly ever since he dominated them by winning 7 straight, a streak that was ended last year. Dave Toy has been our engineer for today's game. Our executive producer, Steve Silverman. Phillies baseball is a presentation of the Philadelphia Phillies. And so for Rich Ashburn, Harry Callis, and Chris Wheeler, this is Andy Musser saying so long from Veterans Stadium, where the Phillies beat San Diego 11 to 4. This is the Phillies Baseball Network.
KYW 1060 Philadelphia. The top story of the hour, Menachem Begin has arrived in the U.S., preceding his meeting tomorrow with President Carter in Washington. Their agenda, among other things, certainly to include potential U.S. aircraft sales to the Middle East and possible resumption of Israeli-Egyptian negotiations. KYW News Time 4:17. More on this after the post-game show.
Sussman Honda, Jenkintown and Beta Roads, Jenkintown. For only Marty Sussman has a huge inventory of Honda Civics, 80cc's, 5-speeds, wagons, Accords, and Accord LXs. Simple to afford because only Marty Sussman gives you a high trade-in allowance or free valuable options. Choose a deluxe AM/FM radio, protective side moldings, tonneau covers, or deluxe roof racks. Simple to maintain with Marty Sussman's large stock of Honda parts and staff of factory-trained mechanics. Now, during Marty Sussman's annual spring sale, take advantage of his huge selection, free valuable options, and expert service. Only at Marty Sussman Olds Honda, Jenkintown and Beta Roads, Jenkintown. Your choice of free options today.
Offer expires April 30th.
Tasty Cake is proud to present the Tasty Cake Wrap-Up Show with facts and figures of today's game. An exclusive interview with the star of the game. So grab a Tasty Cake. There are more than 30 delicious kinds to choose from. Relax in your easy chair and get in the 1978 baseball season with Tasty Cake and the Phillies. All the good things wrapped up in one.
This is Rich Ashburn on our Tasty Cake Wrap-Up Show, and our guest is Davy Johnson, who hit a grand slam home run for the Phillies today. Dave, you haven't had a lot to cheer about this year. I know you were off to a very slow start, and
This Grand Slam had to, I guess, pick you up a little bit.
Boy, it sure did. I tell you, it's been really miserable for me. I don't, I really haven't been worried about it because I really feel very strong and very healthy. It's more, fighting your emotions down to press. I've been trying to lose weight so I can at least say I'm hitting what I'm weighing,
Maybe you should gain a little more weight.
Yeah, maybe that's the way to do it.
Davey, you, I think, are one of the best hitters I ever saw when you get your pitch. Now, I'm not exactly sure what your pitch is, but it seems like when you get the one you want, you very seldom ever miss it.
Well, normally I get in a good groove. I hit in zones, and if I get a pitch in a zone, and of course, I'm a low ball hitter. If I get it in there, normally I don't miss it. And this year, I really haven't had a zone. I've been jumping at the ball, and pressing. And I want it so bad. I feel too good not to hit. And I took a lot of extra batting practice today when I didn't feel like it. And I found a few things I felt I was doing wrong. And I saw the ball great. And I feel if you see the ball good, you'll hit.
Well, I have noticed while you were struggling here early in the season, you were doing things I never saw you do, and that was go after some pitches that, that normally you would let go, and I guess you just get too anxious to hit the ball, don't you?
Right, I think everybody has a tendency to make hitting too complicated, and I've always felt that hitting should be simplified, very much, and I went back today, and I felt that because I wasn't seeing the ball real good, I was probably lunging. And so I just worked with Tony Taylor, and I stayed back, and BP, and I really saw the ball well by just saying I'm going to stay back. And I've been jammed maybe 15 times this year, and nobody really ever jams me, and so that was the key I went to.
We're talking to Davey Johnson here. Let's check some of the scoring in the ball game. Houston started out the scoring with a first inning run. Dave Winfield knocked that in with an infield single. The Phillies came back and tied it in the bottom of the first off Randy Jones. Mike Schmidt knocked that in after a Blake McBride walk and a Larry Boa single. That made it a 1-1 tie. And in the San Diego second inning, Bill Allman started it off with a single. Randy Jones sacrificed, and a hitter who's really been a thorn in the Phillies' side in this series, Gene Richards, the batter.
The ground ball right side. It's through for a base hit. Being waved around is Allman. Here comes McBride's throw to the plate. It's coming on through, not in time. And the Padres lead it 2-1. Taking second on the throw is Richards.
And the Phillies, in the bottom of the second inning, would go ahead in the ball game. Hebner started off with a walk. Gary Maddox lined a double to left field. Bob Boone tied the game with a run batted in single, and then Jim Morrison with his first base hit this season.
There goes Maddox. Pitch to the plate. Hard hit ball. Base hit. It rolls through beyond shortstop. Maddox will score. Phillies take a lead of 3-2 on the hit by Morrison.
And a 3-2 lead for the Phillies. They made it 4-2 with a run in the third inning. Gary Maddox knocked that in with a sacrifice fly. And then in the San Diego fourth, Gene Tillis led off the inning with a double against Randy Lurch. Dave Winfield flied out. George Hendrick grounded out. And then Oscar Gamble, who had a big day for the Padres, the batter.
Here's Oscar Gamble. He has walked in the circle, and the pitch to him, swing and a high fly ball to deep right field. First McBride away back. This ball's out of here, and the ball game is tied.
Sounds like that Harry Kellis got to the spirits a little bit in that inning, but Oscar Gamble tied the game at 4-4 with his home run. And Oscar on the day had 4 base hits. Now in the Phillies' fifth inning, Mike Schmidt led off with a single. Greg Lazinski walked. Richie Hebner sacrificed against pitcher Bob Shirley. Gary Maddox was given an intentional walk to load the bases with 1 down. And the batter, Bob Boone.
Swing and a fly ball into center field, not too deep. Hendrick is there, makes the catch. Schmidt will walk home, and the Phillies lead it 5-4.
And as it turned out, that was the winning run. Bob's Boone sacrifice fly. Jim Morrison got a base on balls after that. And then our guest on our Tasty Cake wrap-up show, Davy Johnson, coming up to bat for Randy Lurch.
Fans coming to life here at Veterans Stadium. The stretch by Shirley. 3-2 pitch. Swing and a long drive. Deep left field has got a chance. A grand slam. Davy Johnson has just hit a pinch hit. Grand slam home run. Phillies now lead it by a score of 9-4.
Davy, I think the only guy more excited than Harry Callis there might have been Davy Johnson. Looks like that kind of got you.
Yeah, I tell you, the biggest decision I had to make was pick out a bat to use pinch hitting. None of them had any hits in them, so I picked out a new one. But it was a big thrill for me, no question about it. I've been struggling all year, and I don't like to look up and see my average 080. And the fans really, I got a little more excited because the fans started chanting when I got to 3-2, and then when I did hit the home run, I was probably the most excited I've ever been.
Davy, I can remember you when you first started out. You were not a home run hitter. You were a good hitter, but never that much in the way of power. And then all of a sudden you start hitting home runs all over the place. What happened?
Well, I tell you, I was always, when I came up, in the minor leagues early in my career, I was a home run hitter. My first year out, I didn't play but 90 games, and as a shortstop in the biggest ballpark in the league, I hit a bunch of home runs. The next year, I was leading it in AA in Elmira, which is a big ballpark in home runs. But when I got to the big leagues, I always felt like I hit 400. That's kind of, and I listened to a lot of people, and before I knew it, I became a defensive hitter. And I think that can hurt a lot of young guys. They're trying to do too much and listen to too many people. And finally, in about 69, I decided that I just hit like I want to hit and attack the ball, and don't let them knock the bat out of my hands. And instead of getting 2 balls, no strikes, and hitting a line drive to right, I'd try to drive it to left.
Okay, Davy Johnson's grand slam homer making the game 9-4, and then the Phillies in the bottom of the 7th inning with one away. Bob Boone walked. Jim Morrison got his second base hit of the game. Jay Johnstone grounded out as a pinch hitter, and then Bake McBride, who had a good game, coming to home plate.
Drive over the head of second baseman Thomas, and a couple of runs will score. Boone scores, Morrison to the plate, and the Phillies add 2 more runs and lead the game 11-4.
And giving the Phillies a series sweep and still holding first place in National League East. Davey, going into Cincinnati Cup Series.
Yeah, but I think this whole club is really looking forward to it. And, they've roughed us up in the past. And there's a lot of guys in that club that I think a lot of the players look up to here. But they're much more mature now. And I think that we're going to play them very tough. And I think we'll beat them this year.
Ball game. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
Dave Johnson, my guest on the Tasty Cake Wrap-Up Show. All guests receive a gift certificate from Mitchell Daroff at 417 North 3rd Street in Philadelphia, the Rosemont Village Mall in Rosemont, and the Stockroom in Quakertown. We'll be back with the Major League Scoreboard right after this tasty break.
Tasty cake is a day in spring, a brand new love or a golden ring. Tasty cake is a morning. Tasty cake is the deep blue sea, a song that's sing for you and me. Tasty cake is a world of fun. It's all the things wrapped up in one.
There's only one fever just about everyone in Philadelphia wants to catch, and that's Phillies fever. Just like there's only one package cake Philadelphia would want to, Tasty Cake. Like the fresh baked taste of Tasty Cake chocolate cream. 2 delicious layers of moist chocolate cake filled with tasty vanilla cream. You couldn't ask for a more mouth-watering treat. So ask for family packs of Tasty Cake chocolate creams. They're all the good things wrapped up in one. Let's check the Major League Scoreboard. This afternoon in the National League, San Francisco beat the Pirates 7-3. Napa the winner over Blyleven. Sam Guillen a Pirate homer. Mark Hill homered. A 2-run homer for the Giants. The New York Mets still lead Cincinnati 6-4 at the end of 6 innings. No home runs in that ball game. The Cubs 5, Atlanta 3. They're in the 7th inning. Murphy is homered for Atlanta. Gross homered for the Chicago Cubs. Well, the Cardinals have gone ahead of the Dodgers 1-0 after 7 innings. The Dodgers were shut out and beaten 1-0 in last night's game. And the Cardinals now leading 1-0 at the end of 7. John Sutton against John Urea. Kenny Reitz hit a home run for the Cardinals to account for the only run in that game. Montreal leads Houston 1-0, and they're in the 6th inning. That run accounted on an Andre Dawson home run. In the American League, Minnesota and the Yankees 2-2 in the 9th. Baltimore leads Chicago White Sox 7-3. They're in the 6th. KC over Milwaukee 1-0 in the 5th. Boston over Texas 1-0 in the 6th. Phillies sweeping the series here today. We'll play in Cincinnati. Tomorrow night it's going to be Steve Carlton and Tom Seaver, the pitchers in that ball game. Dave Torrey, my engineer. Chris Wheeler, my producer. The Phillies moving to Cincinnati tomorrow night. We'll be on at 8:30 and hope you'll be listening to us on the Phillies Baseball Network.
Hope you've enjoyed today's Tasty Cake wrap-up show. Tune in after the next Phillies game when Tasty Cake once again wraps up facts and figures of the game, interviews a star of the game, and gives you the inside scoop on the Phillies as the 1978 baseball season rolls along. Tasty Cake and the Phillies are all the good things wrapped up in one.